Good day, everybody. This is BA Radiantdawn, and we are back with the next part of the reaction/analysis miniseries to LC's miniseries, I guess. So last time we took a look at Path of Radiance. I gave you guys a rundown of stuff you could do in the game. The percentage I agreed with, the ones I did not, the reason why I did not agree with some of the units he chose. But overall, he's got a pretty solid handle on it. He did say Titania is good. That's automatically like 10 points plus in my book. Because if he was like, oh, pre-promote bad, grr, like that would be a bit terrible. So this time we're doing Radiantdawn. For those of you who do not know, good day, everybody. I am BA Radiantdawn. I have probably the most experience playing Radiantdawn out of anyone. I've got over 80 playthroughs, easily over 1,600 hours. I think if you calculate it at, let's say, 40 hours of playthrough, which I typically hit like 60. Well, let's be generous, say 40, multiplied by a minimum of 80, at least 3,200 hours in Radiantdawn. So I think I got a solid handle on what I'm talking about. Let's get into it. I do recall... So, if you guys do not know, this is LC, by the way. Hello, good sir. How are you? He is absolutely chill. You guys should comment on his video, subscribe. I already did. I love Tellius. He's reviewing Tellius. This is how it works. So, if he doesn't mention it, I will now. He's done a few playthroughs of Radiantdawn. I think he's done like 8. No, not maybe not 8, like 3, 4, 5. Let me double check. I'm not gonna misquote him. I'm not gonna misquote him. 4 to 5 times. Yeah, so he's beaten it 4 to 5 times. Let's see what he's let's see what he's gonna say here.
Hello and welcome back to the channel. LC here, back with part 4 to our Tellius retrospective series, the grand finale. Today we'll be talking about what are the best units in Fire Emblem Radiantdawn. Now, first off, I want to thank you guys for the reception on the last video. I had a lot of fun putting that video together, you know.
It's a pretty good video.
I thought that Radiantdawn. I still think Radiantdawn is quite an insane game. So today I want to talk about, you know, what are some things we can do to kind of ease the pain, right? What are some things that are going to kind of make this game easier? And to start with, just what are the best units in the game? Now, just like the guide that we did for Path of Radiance, this is not going to be a super sweaty maniac mode based guide or anything like that. This is going to be predicated entirely on just booting up the game and playing the game in normal, which is actually hard mode, just for a general kind of overview of the entire cast. That's what this entire video will be.
Okay, so I don't know how Radiantdawn Japanese goes, but I think it's pretty much the same as English, except we got like an easy version. So I guess like, I don't know. But this is not hard mode. Easy is not, or normal is not hard. Japan, if anything, it should be the other way around. But easy is easy, normal is normal, hard is hard. I don't think there's a difference between Japanese Radiantdawn and ours, but I could be wrong. But this sentence right here,
and playing the game in normal, which is actually hard mode, just for a general.
Normal is not hard. I play normal all the freaking time. Normal is not hard in the slightest means. You can easily steamroll through it. It's not easy, but like, yeah. So he's reviewing normal mode, okay? Normal mode.
Kind of overview of the entire cast. That's what this entire video will be predicated over. So because the way Radiantdawn is broken down into 4 different sections, we're going to break down what I believe is the best or the most viable units in each different section. Again, this is just my opinion. I did do some research. Checked out a couple different videos. One really good one by Fed, of course, Mecha, stuff like that. I just kind of did some research and did another playthrough. So I had more experience with the entire cast. So this is entirely subjective, right? This is not the end-all be-all. This is personally what I think about it. So that being said, if you're enjoying the Fire Emblem content and would like to see more RPG-based content, make sure you like. Let's try and get 100 likes on the video. Want to try and see if we can try and get as much outreach as possible. That definitely does help with the algorithm. And if you enjoy it, definitely make sure you drop a sub. But without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into it. The best units in Fire Emblem Radiantdawn. To start off with, at part 1, one thing I want to make very clear is some of the choices that you'll be making in each section are going to have a massive effect on what happens in part 4. Part 4, for spoiler for anybody that hasn't played the game, all the units become available and you can choose about 10 units in order to take into the tower with you. So the decisions and the units you choose to build up early on in the game really are going to be tantamount to who you can actually use effectively at the end of the game.
Okay.
So we'll be making this.
So apparently there's actually some text changes where normal is easy, hard is normal, maniac's difficult. Huh. 0A0 to 0A-1. Okay, so Japanese normal is our easy, Japanese hard is our normal, and Japanese maniac is our difficult. So I guess he is correct. I actually did not know about that. Look at that. I actually learned something new today by having to look it up. So I apologize, good sir. You are 100% correct, but if you're making, unless you're making a guide for Japanese players who may or may not understand this video, then just say you're doing normal. Like saying you're doing hard, which is actually normal, just say normal. It's just easier.
List with that in mind, okay, guys? So to start us off, we have everybody's favorite unit, the Dawn Brigade. Now, this is widely considered to be definitely the most difficult section in the game by a very wide margin. Unit, the Dawn Brigade. Now, this is widely considered. Decisions and the units you choose to build up early on in the game really are going to be tantamount to who you can actually use effectively at the end of the game. So we'll be making this list with that in mind, okay, guys? So to start us off, we have everybody's favorite unit, the Dawn Brigade. Now, this is widely considered to be definitely the most difficult section in the game by a very wide margin.
Saying unit, okay, this is just a minor nitpick, but saying unit for the Dawn Brigade sounds weird. I know what he means, a unit isn't like a group, but when you're talking about a game where, like, each unit is a unit, like a character is a unit, using unit as a group just sounds really weird. But that's just me nitpick.
Margin, due to the very low levels most units start at level 1 that most of your units come in at, and the overall difficult rating of Radiant Dawn. But alas, boys, there's actually a little bit of hope to be had. Here's an overview of who I think is worth your time in this section, starting with Big Dog Nolan.
Okay.
Of all your original core members from the Dawn Brigade, Nolan is probably the most fundamentally sound, having decent attack and HP tied with impressive skill and speed growths. He'll definitely be the force that sees you through most of these battles. In fact, in my most recent playthrough, he was the only unit I bothered getting to tier 3 from the OG Dawn Brigade. And then moving on.
I think there's better people than Nolan, but
we have everyone's favorite green-haired twink, Soth, who is actually going to be our pre-promoted unit for this entire section.
Actually, when he says OG Dawn Brigade, I guess that means like Micaiah, Edward, Leonardo. Well, Micaiah, okay, that's not true. Micaiah is forced to promote. So you do have another one. But, Soth is forced to promote. That's storyline promotion as well. So, like, Micaiah, Soth, Leonardo, Edward, Nolan. That's the main 5. So it's 2 out of the 5 are already forced to promote. So, like, but, like, did Nolan actually end up as better than Edward?
So Soth can easily go toe-to-toe with pretty much anything.
Hang on.
The OG Dawn Brigade. And then moving on, we have everyone's favorite green-haired twink, Soth, who is actually going to be our pre-promoted unit for this entire section. So Soth can easily go toe-to-toe.
He was groomed. Technically, they're not wrong. That's why when in Fae, when Duo Makai came out, Soth was a groomed groom. Because they came out as a bridal alt. So he was a groomed groom. It was very funny. I remember the memes. Yeah, just like in the last video, if you guys did not watch it, the link to that video is going to be down in the description below. And the link to this original video, LC's videos, in the description below as well. Go check them out. A pre-promote that you get at the very beginning of the game is called a Jagan. It's actually an archetype. There's many archetypes in Fire Emblem, and the Jagan archetype is the pre-promote OP guy that you get. In Path of Radiance, it's Titania. In FE7, it's Marcus. In FE6, it's Marcus. In FE8, it's Seth. In FE9, it's Titania. In FE10, Radiant Dawn, it's Soth. And I guess technically 11 is Shadow Dragon, yeah? And then 11 in Shadow Dragon is Jagan. Jagan is the original Jagan. Each unit archetype is named after a character from the original game / Shadow Dragon. So you got your Est, you got your Godo, you got your Jagan, you got your Cain and Abel archetypes. You got a whole bunch. So Soth is a Jagan.
So with pretty much anything that this section has to throw at him, with the exception of some of the general types, he might struggle just a bit. The upside is that daggers are much more viable in this title than its predecessor.
Sure.
So that definitely is going to help him out. So overall, when it comes to Soth and a few of these units that are going to be on this list, the thing is that you really want to use them sparingly. You don't really want to overextend them, because if you have them soaking up so much EXP, now Soth he's mandatory to go into the tower, so it doesn't matter with him. For some of these units that go over though, you really want to be careful about feeding them too many kills and too much EXP if you plan on using some of these other Dawn Brigade members, because they can easily just soak up so much EXP, which can cause a huge issue when it gets to part 3 and you have to really start using some of these units. So essentially what I'm saying is kind of use these people like panic buttons. And then we have our resident furry tank type character, Volug. A character for part 1 that is pretty good. I think for the majority of part 1, especially with his half shift ability, he doesn't really have to worry about Laguz gauge and stuff like that, but he is also an EXP sponge. He's going to be the one that you know, tank a lot of hits and stuff like that, but he's not really viable for the tower, so really be careful with the amount of EXP that you feed him. He's going to mow through most of these characters in part 1. There's only a few really like mage types and stuff like that that's going to really bother him, maybe some boss types, but he's also going to be the number 1 unit that you're going to use for rescue. You need to get somebody out of dodge, which is going to be the case a lot with some of these weaker units in the Dawn Brigade. Please utilize him. He's going to have excellent movement. He can get in, he can get out on the stages where you don't have Nyla, of course.
You get better rescuers. If you're going to talk about rescue, you've got Fiona, who is a trash unit. She can't do shit. She can't combat. All she is a rescuer on a horse. And you can combo her with Jill, take the rescued unit, drop them off, fly ahead, and Jill is actually a good unit. Volug is, I do agree, Volug is not, he's not great. He's really solid, and then near the end of part 1, he starts falling off, and then in part 3, his half shift. So how Laguz work in this game instead of Path of Radiance is in Radiant Dawn. When they're transformed, their stats are doubled, but when they're half shifted, it's 1.5 times. So he's actually much better when he's not half shifted. And wolves actually have a somewhat slow gauge. It's not a really quick gauge like cats, where it's like boom, you transform. 3 attacks later, boom, untransform. Wolves actually can stay transformed for a while, which is nice. So you get advantage of those stats, and you get advantage of the transformation bonuses. But yeah, he does soak up XP. He doesn't really do a whole lot in terms of and he's definitely not tower viable. So I agree with that. It's just yeah, he's pretty good, just not fantastic.
So you might have noticed I'm using the word tank quite a bit so far. Now, this is an actual true tank type character, Terrenio. So Terrenio is a pretty fucking excellent unit. But he has very...
So Radiant Dawn actually requires tanks. Aran is a better tank than Volug by kind of a long shot, except Volug can actually double. But Aran will cap defense very easily. He will cap strength, he will cap skill. And you can use bonus XP after he caps those to pump up his speed a bit. And then once Aran promotes to tier 2, you basically have a general with more movement. Which is fan-fucking-tastic, honestly. Yeah, so the Dawn Brigade are very squishy. You need tanks. You need units that can soak up damage because Micaiah dies fast. Leonardo dies fast. Edward can die fast, but that fixes itself later. Volug, if he's confronted with mages, he can die fast. But in terms of physical units, Meg can die fast. Fiona can die fast. Oh boy, that's a whole lot of units that can die fast. So yeah, Dawn Brigade is very squishy. They need a tank. They need units to soak up damage because if they try, they will die. And also don't forget, you can use support bonuses! Support bonuses are so good!
Very, very spotty availability, and I think, discuss this a bit more, I think that Gatry is probably your best bet if you want to use a general type.
Yep.
But for what you use him in part 1 and part 3, Brenio's pretty good. You know, he can hold his own, he can be a wall, he can kind of shut off sections.
Tornio's really good in part 1 because he's a really high level pre-promote, so he just kind of steamrolls anything. He gets no bonus, he gets no XP though. He gets 1 XP per kill, and then if it's a boss kill, he gets, I don't know how much because I never have him really get boss kills. But yeah, he gets he only gets 1 XP per kill, so to get him a level, you have to kill 100 units, and that's a lot of XP that could be given to any other unit to make them a lot better than they are right now. Toronio in part 3 really does fall off hard. He can now take damage. Meanwhile, in part 1, he's invincible. In part 3, he can take damage. He can actually die if you're unlucky. But you at a couple, like a chapter after the, like I guess the second chapter, you can have the Dawn Brigade in part 3. He can just promote, and then he's like pretty damn good again. So, yeah.
Of course, being a general type, he does also have resistance issues, so just be careful. He can get shredded by a really strong mage or something like that, but he's good. Old man is good again. And on to our first taste of world.
He does come with resolve, so if he gets below half health, his speed won't double, but I think it's like 1.5 times. Let me see. Yeah, it is 1.5. 100% is 1.5. So it increases, so he can get like speed, 1.5 times his speed. But Toronio's speed is, let's see, Clash of base stats. Toronio. His speed is 20. So with Resolve activated, he has like 30 speed, which is actually pretty damn good. So actually, that's not actually a bad idea. He can get dodgier if he gets low on HP. That's actually a strat you can do where you can weaken him. And then he gets in Resolve range and then he just messes up people. It's kind of fun, actually. So, yeah, this is fair, that's fair. Yeah, I'm pretty sure he has it. I'm going off by memory, but I'm pretty sure Toronio has Resolve.
We have Nyla. Now, Nyla is completely broken in part 1. She's just the strongest unit you have, and she can actually just solo most maps. And the maps that you have her and the Black Knight, I think are kind of hilarious because you send one of them through each lane and it can pretty much beat the whole game for you. The thing with Nyla is, again, you don't want to make sure that she doesn't soak up too much EXP. And I think she is endgame viable. I use her endgame every single time. She's probably middle of the road when it comes to Laguz Royals.
Yeah, she is a Laguz Royal, so she has form shift, so she can just stay permanently transformed. That's a massive plus in her favor. If you really wanted to, what you could do in part 1 is actually have her untransformed and fight enemies. She'll gain more XP that way, so she won't be an XP sponge per se, but she'll still be killing enemies and gaining XP that you could give to other units. But it won't be as bad because she's not getting 1 XP anymore. She's actually gaining more because Laguz get more XP when they're untransformed. And there's a funny strat in part 3 that you can do that is just the funniest fucking thing. That it's just so stupid, but so funny. Okay.
So we'll touch on that a bit more when we get to chapter 4, but she's really good. Now let's talk about the other White Prince, Raphael. Now Raphael is a pretty interesting character. Now he doesn't have flight like the other Herons, but he's kind of busted in his base form. He can revitalize 4 characters that are around his direct vicinity every single round. That's kind of getting good. That's really good. And the fact that he doesn't need to worry about a Laguz gauge or anything like that.
I feel like LC would love FE4. If he likes the fact that the Laguz can dance 4 people at a time, untransformed, then he's going to like FE4. Because you can basically give untransformed Raphael like 10 frickin' movement and dance for 4 people. And can Canto after. I think this guy would love FE4.
Yeah, technically. I mean, he does transform still, but kind of, I mean, the stuff that he gets out of it, it's okay. It's not that, like, the revitalization is what most people want. And he can do that every single round, which is kind of good. I think overall, when it comes to Herons, I think I still have him 3rd. I still like Racing more and Leanne more, just because they have better movement.
Yep.
But it depends on what you value more. You know, Goose Gauge and stuff like that. So that's entirely up to you. But S-tier character, all the Herons are S-tier. Spoiler alert. They're all incredibly strong, so just feel free to use him. And he's definitely going to be Chapter 4 ready right out the box. Come on, a little bit of EXP, he's good to go. And then moving on, we have our other 2 data transfers from Path Radiance.
Okay, so when he says Chapter 4, he means Part 4. There are separate chapters in Radiantdawn, Chapter 1, Chapter 2, Chapter 3. And then there's the Part 1 finale, and then there's the Chapter 2 prologue, Chapter 1, Chapter 2, Chapter 3, Chapter 4, Part 2 finale, Part 3 prologue, Part 3, Chapter 1, Part 3, Chapter 2, etc. Radiantdawn is a very, very long game. I think speedrunners can beat it in like 3 hours or so, which is actually freaking crazy. I'm at like 3 hours myself, and I'm like part 3. So the fact that they could finish the entire game, but I'm doing it on the Wii original hardware, so you know, flex.
Gonna be Jill and Z-Hark. Now, Z-Hark is kind of an interesting case, right? So let's talk about Z-Hark and Edward together, right?
Okay.
Now, Z-Hark is definitely easier to train up and get going than his counterpart Edward. He can definitely be extremely useful throughout the entirety of Part 1. He possesses a very high avoidance stat, and this paired with his Earth affinity, if you team him up with, say, Volug or Nolan, it becomes quite good out there. You know, it's going to be very hard to hit him. This will essentially make him unhittable and a very good distraction on the field, which is something that Dawn Brigade sorely needs in some of these chapters. Just having him out there and he can't be hit, that's always going to be a good thing for you. He'll also transfer over to the Grill Mercs in some of the later chapters, so he actually has a bit addition.
So fun fact, so he mentions the support with Volug, because Volug is Earth. You could actually do Nolan Volug, and having Nolan and Volug get a void is a lot more helpful than making, in my opinion, it's more helpful than Z-Hark Volug, because Nolan needs the avoid more than Z-Hark does. Z-Hark can already dodge stuff, but Nolan cannot as good. So give Nolan like 40 extra avoid, and he's able to dodge just like Z-Hark. So instead of one already untouchable unit becoming even more untouchable, you have, and then Volug being mostly untouchable, becoming completely untouchable. You have two units that are somewhat to mostly untouchable, becoming just untouchable.
Additional time to get up to par if you plan on taking him into the tower. And then moving on, we have young Eduardo. Quite possibly one of the most contentious characters debate-wise when it comes to Radiant Dawn.
Mm-hmm.
I either see a bunch of posts about how this guy's criminally underrated, or I see a bunch of posts about don't use this guy, he's ass. My experience was I didn't really like him, but I understand how he can be good. He has a couple different, like, very noticeable, like, trade-offs. Anyways, I'm more of a Mia-type Stefan kind of guy. He just requires a ton of work and effort. You got to feed him a lot of kills, keep him alive, but if you do end up leveling up...
Both of those things are not very hard to do. Keep him alive. Once he gets enough levels, he's not unkillable, but he's a lot better. Give him a lot of kills. He could double. He'd forge him a weapon. He'll kill. It's not that bad. And also, I'm going to mention this at the end of Part 1 again, which is actually pretty quick here. But I'm going to mention a little bit of it now. You can very easily get every single Dawn Brigade unit to Tier 2 at least. And once they're all Tier 2, and that's like promoting at level 20. So they go from like Tier 1 level 20 to Tier 2 level 1. You can do it with all of them, and it makes them all like 1,000 times better than early promoting them. And it's not very... There's a few different instances where you can do this for them. So it's not very difficult at all to give them XP and levels. Yeah, I'm going to mention something at the end of Part 1.
In Chapter 1, by the time you make it to Chapter 3, if you give him Beast Foe, you can literally just make him insane. He can just slay all those Lagoons back to back. So that's very good as well. But for this section, he can be good if he's blessed by...
Not who you really want to give Beast Foe to. A trained up Edward does not need the help. He does not need the help of Beast Foe. Other units need Beast Foe. He does not.
By the RNG gods, you really got up your way to feed him really good kills. A lot of boss types, and if you find a way to keep him safe, he can really do a lot of work. He has pretty poor defensive growth, and that coupled with overall lower HP, he can be killed pretty much on a whim by any character. So definitely keep him away from any really strong characters and any mages that could potentially one-shot him with ease. He does also get access to call the boss.
I don't know, his defense is 35.
Definitely be endgame.
Okay, wait, what?
But he's
hang on. His HP growth is 85%. His HP growth is 85%. That is phenomenal. That is actually one of the highest HP growths in the entire game. Yeah, he's got the HP growth of, like, Lagoo's units, okay? Rolf has an 85. Lagoo's have higher. Skrimir, Tabarn, Kurthnaga, Gareth. Yeah, he's got, like, the HP growth of Lagoo's units. And Lagoo's have a really high HP growth in this game.
He just requires a ton of work and effort. You got to feed him a lot of kills, keep him alive. But if you do end up leveling up to a certain extent in Chapter 1, by the time you make it to Chapter 3, if you give him Beast Foe, you can literally just make him insane. He can just slay all those Lagoons back to back. So that's very good as well. But for this section, he can be good if he's blessed by the RNG gods, and you really got up your way to feed him really good kills. a lot of boss types, and if you find a way to keep him safe, he can really do a lot of work. He has pretty poor defensive growth, and that coupled with overall lower HP, he can be...
Oh, he means like base HP, I guess. But gross. The higher up level he gets, the more his HP will be, so you don't have to worry about that. And like, in Radiant Dawn, how bonus XP works is once a unit starts to cap stats, when you use bonus experience, it goes after the next stats in line percentage-wise, right? So Edward is probably going to cap strength, skill, and speed. And then the next level ups after that would be like HP, luck, and defense. So once you cap strength, skill, speed, you can easily start capping defense as well after. So like his defensive abilities will be just fine. It does take a little while to get him there, but again, you got bonus XP once he starts capping stats, and you've got my little trick that I like to do that I'll say at the end once we get to the end of part 1. So you can always be tier 2 guaranteed every time. It is possible for him to be very, very good. Fun fact about Edward, I actually, so I kind of agree. I'm more of a Mia guy. Stefan is bad. Why are you using Stefan? Stefan is, he joins in a chapter he can't do anything in. He's so bad. He's as bad as Edward. He can't do anything. Edward can't do anything. They're like two peas in a pod. It's a desert map. It's bad. And like, Mia or Edward will be better than him at this point. So why is Stefan even a factor here? Typically, if Mia fails, I use Edward. Mia can be bad. It is possible for her to get RNG screwed. Out of over 80 playthroughs, I've had maybe 10 Edwards that are like tower worthy. Like best sword user in the game besides Ike worthy. Highest stats. Highest, like, he could be phenomenal, dude. He could be so damn good.
He killed pretty much on a whim by any character. So definitely keep him away from any really strong characters and any mages that could potentially one-shot him with ease. He does also get access to Kaldabog, so that's really good. He can definitely be endgame viable, but he probably requires...
So the Kaldabog, each of the preferred weapons of the Dawnbreaker that the Dawnbreaker are given boosts stats. The Kaldabog boosts luck. Lugsadna, I have no idea how the fuck to pronounce that. The bow for Leonardo gives speed, but Leonardo's speed is trash anyway, so it does not help him at all. And Nolan's Tarvos gives defense. Honestly, Kaldabog is the best, because the bow is being given a unit who can't do anything with the bonus effects. Nolan being a little bit tankier is always nice, but it's not great. Extra avoid on a Swordmaster, though? Holy shit. So good.
There's the most amount of work when it comes to Swordmasters. And to close us out, we have Lady Jill. Probably the only character that most players will seriously consider taking to endgame from this chapter. Another prime character for data transfers, and this type with very good base stats and really good growth overall. I mean, she's going to cap out a lot of those critical attributes quite quickly. And then that's going to just allow her to be quite insane. I think...
Fun fact, if you give her a data transfer, she's even better. If you use her in Path of Radiance, grind her up. In Radiant Dawn, as a green unit, and once she joins you, she's slowed down by a Steel Axe. If I remember correctly, she's not slowed down by a Steel Axe anymore if you give her data transfers of strength. And then if you give her extra speed as well, she caps those faster, so she caps defense faster, she caps res faster. Data transfer Jill is one of the best units in the game, hands down. So, like, I approve of Jill being here, but she's being slightly underplayed, I'd say. Jill's an absolute monster. Especially in part 1. You need a tank? She's there. You need a flyer? She's there. You need a rescue drop? She's there. You need a rescue take, drop, and fly forward? She's there. She got Kanto. She could tank. She could do so much shit. Jill's a fucking god, dude. Jill is so good. It is, even if you get a bad Jill. I once had a Jill that did not get a single... She got 1 point of strength up to level 20. She gained strength once, which is so damn bad. What is her strength growth? What is Jill's strength growth? It's 45%. Her strength growth is not great, but even then, at Jill's worst, she was still good. She caught up, and she was still tower worthy. A unit that can go from their worst point to tower worthy is phenomenal, okay? Do not underplay Jill.
I think by the time you make it to part 4, if you just are consistent with her throughout 1, 3, and 4, she's very, very good. She's one of the best characters in the game, so don't sleep on Jill. She's very good in this.
Jill has a really good speed growth. If you give her Adept, she will trigger it a lot, and she will kill a lot of enemies. And Jill's... I have a funny feeling he's going to talk about Har later. Jill has a higher speed cap, and that speed cap enables her to double a lot of more people in the tower of part of the end game than Har will. Har has a really low speed cap. I think it's like 32 or 33. Meanwhile, Jill's is like 35. Jill's speed cap is great for her because I made this case in Path of Radiance video. I like hitting twice for 15 damage than hitting once for 20. Hitting twice for 15 guarantees you a kill more often than the once for 20.
This game. And now moving on to part 2.
So we're at the end of part 1. So what you really want to do if you have a crap ton of patience, I know this is not for everyone, but like if you're playing on easy mode, you can easily get the main squad of the Dawn Brigade up to level 20. I've done it without grinding at all. You can boss abuse. I know it's a lengthy process, but you can boss abuse and get everyone to level 20 and then promote them in the Dawn Brigade. You can get them to level 20 tier 1 and then promote them into tier 2. And they will all be serviceable except for like a few. Meg, 99% of the time, trash. Even after you promote her, having a general that can double is nice. But a general that can't damage and has a low skill so she'll miss is just terrible. Only 3 times out of over 80 playthroughs have I had a tower good Meg. That is how bad she is. Leonardo also, I've never had a good Leonardo ever, so he's worse than Meg. And Fiona is absolutely trash. The only way to get her to be any good is to give her a lot of favoritism. If you're doing a meme run, you'll use Fiona, but that is literally it. She is so bad. Even at level 20. So, promoted to level 20. I've grinded her up. Her growth rates are not good. Her defense is not good. She has high res, I guess, which is whoop-de-freaking-do. No one cares. She couldn't double, she couldn't hit, she couldn't damage. So what is she there for? Rescuing. She comes with Savior. In this game and Path of Radiance, if you rescue a unit, the unit that's doing the rescuing has their speed and skill halved, but Savior is a skill where if you rescue, your stats are not dropped. But Fiona's so damn bad, she gets doubled and killed anyway, so this protection of her stats literally doesn't matter. Give it to Jill, so Jill can fly around and bop people with 0 issues. Also, a fun fact, if you rescue a support partner, you still get the bonuses. So, like, you can give Jill a support with, like, let's say, it doesn't matter. Let's say Jill and Zehark, because Zehark's Earth. And then Jill could rescue Zehark. She won't get penalized, and she'll keep the support bonuses of the Avoid plus whatever Lightning has. So, like, she'll guaranteed have 20 Avoid. She will not be slowed down at all, so she'll actually be better with Savior. That is a funny rescue strat that you can do with Savior, combined with Savior, to make a unit absolutely busted, is they'll just carry, like, rescue their support partner and then just carry them around for free. And then they just keep the support bonuses. It's kind of broken. But yeah. There's 3 chapters in part 1 of Radiantdawn where you can grind boss abuse because the bosses have healing items, so they can take a lot of abuse, and they're on a heal spot, so they can take even more abuse. This is typically the longest part of the game if you do that. It will take hours, but if you really want to see who is best in the Dawn Brigade, this is what you'd have to do. Otherwise, the best in the Dawn Brigade would be pretty much everyone except, like, Meg, Leonardo, Fiona. Everyone else is viable. Everyone else is pretty solid. Everyone else is at least pretty damn good at tier 2. Once we get to a certain point in part 3, I noticed that it says part 2, the Queen's Guard. So in the timestamps, he's calling them parts, but in the video, he's calling them chapters. But anyway, sorry, that just caught my attention there. So So yeah, once we get to a certain point in part 3, I will mention a funny little strat that you can also do, which is the funniest freaking thing if you really want to make the Legoose chapters a breeze, especially if you didn't do the grinding, or at least not even grinding per se. If you didn't get like everyone but the 3 worst in the Dawn Brigade promoted, promoted to tier 2. If you didn't even do that, there's a funny strat that you can do in. Actually, whether you do it or not, there's a funny strat in part 3 you could do with the Beast Foe.
So right out the gate, I'm very pleased to say that you have access to significantly better units at your disposal for the duration of this moderately short section. Let's start off talking about the Queen and probably one of my favorite units of all time, Elincia. Now, she's just kind of okay in this particular section because they give her a very terrible slim sword. She does have great movement and ability to wield staffs, make her a pretty indisposable part of your team for this entire section. She's a very viable staff bot. In all 3 of my playthroughs, she's my go-to healer by the time I make it to endgame, so I'm kind of diligent to try and feed her kills and experience throughout this section. And she just has great movement. She hardly gets hit. You know, she's just really good.
You do not want to feed her kills in part 3, because in part 2, I mean. Because in part 2, she only literally gets any form of XP from the boss. From the 2 bosses. The prologue one and the finale one. And she's not around for any other chapter. And every other enemy she gets like 1 XP from, because she's... Technically, Elincia is a tier 3 unit. She's like a Seraph Knight, or basically a promoted Ike, where they're tier 3 units. She's like the only tier 3 unit in part 2. That's why she has really good stats. That's why she has stun. She has really good avoid. She's got a whole bunch going on for her. And that's why they give her a slim sword, is because slim swords have the lowest might. They have a little bit of crit. She can still kill if she procs stun. Actually, no. In this chapter, she can't even kill if she procs stun sometimes, because a slim sword is just that bad. Later on, she gets her preferred weapon, the Amity, which is absolutely phenomenal. It gives defense and res, and it's so much better than in Path of Radiance. Path of Radiance was pretty damn trash. In Radiantdawn, the Amity is like one of the best weapons, one of the best swords in the entire game. So yeah.
Solid unit to use. On all 3 of my playthroughs, she ends up being one of my go-to endgame units, because Amity is kind of broken. A sword that hits 4 times with infinite durability. I don't know what they were thinking. Also, if you're going to take her seriously, please remove that very terrible Mercy ability that she has.
Yes, thank you. Mercy is trash. So, Mercy she gets when she joins in part 4. And Mercy is absolutely the worst skill in the game. It leaves enemies with 1 HP. So she can kill, she does not kill anymore. It basically gives the enemies Miracle, which is the stupidest freaking thing. It's nice if you want to give XP to other units, but in part 4, pretty much everyone you want to be tier 4, or tier 3, I'm sorry. And pretty much anyone you want to be tier 3 is tier 3, so this skill is literally useless on her. Take it off and sell it.
As if you plan on killing anybody out there, just remove it. It sucks.
Yep.
Moving on, another day, another Heron. For section 2, our resident Heron is going to be Leanne, and she's pretty solid. She's typically, as far as endgame goes, she's not... I think most people prefer racing to her. She's not a bad character at all. When she is just in her base form, she can revitalize 2 characters in front and behind her. That's really good. Not quite as insane as, say, Raphael's, but very viable. Just like the rest of the Herons, she's very fragile, so you need to make sure that she stays out of danger at all times. But she can definitely get the work done. And now for the man everybody's been waiting for, the man, the myth, the legend, R.
It takes a certain kind of person to be a Canadian.
Okay, I don't mind the Har hype. Har is pretty freaking good.
This guy is just completely...
But Jill is better. Jill has speed. Speed is better than strength. Hands down. Honestly. But yeah, Har is pretty freaking good when you have him. In part 3, once you get Har and you can use him to recruit Jill, holy shit. Are they a good pair? Support them together, fly them forward, and they just screw up everybody on their path. It is beautiful. They're such a good pair. Oh my god. Yeah, again, if you gave data transfers to Jill, that makes Jill 1,000 times better than she already was. If you give data transfers to Har, it makes them a slight bit better. Har's speed cap is still trash. So if you do get him to the tower, he won't be killing anything unless you do, like, if it's not a crit with a killer axe or a stun proc, he will not kill. That is my issue with Har. He will not kill. He will bop, but he will not. He will bop hard. Don't get me wrong, but he will not kill. Jill will kill. Kill Jill. Let's go. Fun fact. I actually really like Har. His tier 3 promotion makes him look like the freaking Witch King of Angmar from Lord of the Rings. Like, holy shit. Does his tier 3 look fucking sick? That is a kick-ass sprite. He is literally ripped straight from Lord of the Rings, and it is the best damn thing you've ever seen. Best sprite.
Broken. I
Or
don't know what
model,
else to say.
whatever.
Easily the best character in this game.
Like, look at him! Look at him! Okay, I'm gonna go like this. Actually, you know what? Like, look at him. He's so cool. He's so freaking cool. So freaking cool, guys.
Considered to be one of the most broken Fire Emblem characters of all time.
Nah, I wouldn't go that far. He's good, but he's not that good.
This man comes ready to party. Great base stats and growth means that in most cases, he's going to be your most reliable character on the field.
Jill has better growths in the stats that matter. Let's see, Har. Yeah, he's got strength, skill, and defense, and maybe luck. His res growth is 20, his speed growth is 30. He will be slow as shit, and mages will double him. Thunder mages will double him, making that a real problem. Meanwhile, for Jill has really good speed, solid strength and skill. I mean, good luck, but who cares about luck? And a 45 res. Basically, Jill is perfectly balanced with pretty much 50 in every single stat. 50 HP, 45 strength, 45 skill, 65 speed, 60 luck, 35 defense, and 45 res. She will cap res, she will cap speed, she will more than likely cap skill. You can bump up her strength and defense after that, and she snowballs. She requires less bonus XP, and she gets better results.
And he can clear lanes effortlessly. Insane damage and ability to double almost all units in this game means this man is just purely goated.
Okay. Even on normal mode, he cannot double pretty much all the units in the game. He's good up till part 4. Part 4, he falls off. He can no longer double. You could give him a Brave Axe. That might help him double. But he's not that good.
Else to say, easily the best character in this.
Like, Har can double dragons, but everyone can double dragons. Oh, did Har not even double a dragon? There's no way, right? There's no way.
Also, even to make sure that she stays out of danger at all times.
No, he had to have doubled the dragon.
Get the work done. And now for the man everybody's been waiting for, the man, the myth, the legend, Har. This guy is just completely broken. I don't know what else to say. Easily the best character in this game and widely considered to be one of the most.
He's not the best character in the game. Ike is the best. Soren's pretty damn good. Jill is better than Har, so I don't know why Har is the best. Yeah, Gatry wielding Lancer or Nephany, depending. They're pretty good. Har is slow as hell, dude.
Of all time, virtually unhittable and unkillable in most cases.
How is he virtually unhittable? He has no speed. He has no speed or avoid. Everything has like a 60% chance to hit. The one credit I will give him is he's very tanky. But if a Thunder Mage even breathes on him, he dies. Well, actually, he's got a lot of HP. He won't die, but he's going to be at, like, 15 HP. Which is not great. And then, like, a Wind Mage will walk up and just delete.
This man comes ready to party. Great base stats and growth means that in most cases...
Again, his speed and res growth are trash. Those stats, those growths are not good. Sorry, I'm just like replaying this because there's a lot.
I don't know what else to say.
For me to catch up on.
The best character in this game and widely considered to be one of the most broken Fire Emblem characters of all time. Virtually unhittable and unkillable in most.
He's not virtually unhittable. I'm sorry. I'm gonna have to contest that. That is just outright wrong. It's just wrong.
Cases, this man comes ready to party.
He does.
Great base stats and growth means that in most cases.
His base. What are his bases? Like, clearly he got some favoritism. Let me see. What are his base? Oh, that's those base stats for that. Base stats for characters. Okay. Har. 23 strength, good. 24 skill, good. 20 speed is pretty solid. 23 defense is pretty good. 7 res is trash, bro. 7 res is so bad. And 13 luck. Meanwhile, Jill is unpromoted. But she can easily get 12 points. She could easily be better than Har at the same level as Har. So, and she'll be more untouchable than Har. She has a lower strength and defense cap, I'm pretty sure. But her speed cap is higher, which makes all the difference in the world. She can dodge better. She can tank better. She can avoid better. She has better res, which means she can tank. Mages even. But more than likely, she'll just dodge them because she's actually fast. Har is not. Har can't dodge shit. Har can't dodge shit. Axes are inaccurate, but he's got a good skill growth to kind of compensate for that. He hits like a truck once. He can tank physical units fine, but he can't do much more than that.
He's going to be your most reliable character on the field, and he can clear lanes effortlessly. Insane damage and ability to double almost all units in this game means this man is just purely goated. Being a flyer doesn't hurt either. He's just one of the best units. Now, I did mention...
Flyers are pretty good in this game, though. Flyers are pretty good in pretty much any game, but honestly, they're pretty... Because of the terrain in Radiantdawn, there's a lot of terrain. Flyers are even better here than the Path of Radiance.
This a bit with the previous videos that we did. I think due to the difficulty rating of Radiantdawn, they purposefully give you like really insane characters just to make sure you can make it through the chapters, it feels like. But some of these characters are just like, they turn a knob way too far. And Har is just insane, you know what I mean? He makes so many of the other cast members completely irrelevant. And that's one thing I mentioned before, is that
I don't know about that one.
A lot of the love is not spread evenly amongst the cast members. Just
it is not.
Tuned way too high.
Some units are the issue with Radiantdawn is in Path of Radiance, pretty much every unit is viable. In Radiantdawn, there's like 15 units, pretty much off the top of my head, that are just trash, bro. They can't do shit. Okay, let's go off the top of my head. Starting in part 1, Meg, 99% of the time, bad. Leonardo can never really be good. Fiona is absolute trash. Vika is speedy, but she can't kill. And then she comes back, she can't even damage. Part 2. Leth and Liar. I forget which one you get in part 2, because they're both cat girls that I never really use unless I have to. But both of them are bad. So let's see. Meg, Leonardo, Vika, Fiona, Leth and Liar. Part 2. Mordecai is pretty good in part 2, so I'll leave him at that. Leth cannot get a kill, or Liar, whichever one it is. They're just bad. Part 3, Riss is absolute trash. You get the other cat girl that's bad. Ranulph is a god. Ranulph's pretty fucking good. Mist can be bad. I'm trying to think. What other units stick out as being just absolutely fucking terrible? I don't know. There's more though, but that's at least 8 units off the top of my head, just between part 1, part 2, and a little bit of part 3. Like that's like the beginning of part 3. That's pretty freaking bad, bro. That's pretty. Oh, Astrid, Makalov, trash. So that's like 10 right there. Marsha's good. Joffrey's good. Kieran's good. Khalil's okay. She's not great. Yeah, that's like 10 units off the top of my head in Radiantdawn who are just freaking unusable, bro. They're so goddamn bad.
And ones that are tuned way too low, so keep that in mind as well. Now on to the Royal Knights, and we'll cover these together. Now the two that I really focus on when it comes to these, it's going to be Jeffrey and Kieran.
Thank you.
Very impressive units in their own right. They'll pretty much mow down anything.
I was worried you're going to mention Astrid again.
Ease. As far as differences,
because in Radiantdawn, there's no way you would mention Astrid. Astrid is just so damn bad.
Take him into the tower endgame. Paragon's going to...
So, yeah, he mentions Paragon, but okay. The issue with Radiantdawn is it does not work the same as Path of Radiance. In Path of Radiance, if you remove a skill, it's gone forever. You do not get it to reassign it, blah, blah, blah. In Radiant Dawn, you can just reassign Paragon to whoever you want. I take off Astrid's Paragon, slap it on Kieran, he just flies. So you cannot count Paragon as a way of going, oh, this unit's good because that's a skill anyone can get. The only thing Joffrey gets is he gets Paragon for free. Once you unassign it, and even if you reassign it to Joffrey, it'll cost space in the capacity. It'll cost capacity. But you cannot give Joffrey a point for having Paragon, because everyone can get Paragon. Literally everyone in the game can use Paragon. Except for Part 1, Tier 1 units. Once you get past Part 1, every unit in the game can use Paragon.
Going to help him get there pretty quickly. Of course, you can always take that off, give it to Kieran and stuff like that, or other characters, but if you plan on just maining him, he definitely is going to be viable for that.
Okay.
And then we have Kieran, a man of a bit of trade-offs. While both of these characters suffer from pretty horrendous availability, Kieran does make up for it a bit by having the high strength cap of all the cav units once promoted. However, he does lose out to Oscar and Titania and a couple other critical sections like speed and skill. If you commit to Kieran, he can definitely be a potent force on the field.
If you give Kieran data transfers, he's just fine. I think he comes in with a capped stat. I think it's capped skill or strength. But for those of you who did not watch the last video, data transfers from if you get a character to level 20, second tier in Path of Radiance, and you have a cap stat or more than one cap stat, you get +2 to that stat when they rejoin in Radiant Dawn. So Oscar getting +2 speed in Path of Radiance at level 20, like if he caps speed at level 20 in Path of Radiance and he transfers, you get +2 speed on your base Oscar, which is pretty solid. I think he caps. Mia caps. Lots of units can cap stats faster with data transfers, which is what makes data transfers so damn good, is because combined with bonus experience in Radiant Dawn, you literally just become they become a unit that can snowball so damn easily, which is beautiful.
Throughout the game, and he's one of the best cav units, I would say. And to cap us off for this section, we have Miss Lucille Ball. Lucia.
If you give Kieran a Paragon from like Astrid, because why the hell would you keep it on Astrid? Astrid is trash. Give it to Kieran. Joffrey and Kieran rush forward, pretty much kill everyone. They will both promote really quickly. Like, they might not promote they won't promote in part 2. But when they return in part 3, they will be able to promote, and they'll be pretty fucking good. They won't have the speed, skill, whatever issue you were talking about with Titania.
I think that this character is very much the definition of middle of the road. She can be viable in this
long hair was better.
That she's in. She's more than serviceable. She's going to get the job done, and she can kind of like solo her one section that she has. But end game, I think there's just better options. I think Mia definitely is better than her, as well as Stefan. She has a bit of a lower strength growth than her.
Lucia is the worst sword master in Radiant Dawn as a whole. Stefan is better. Edward can be better. Mia can be better. Literally, Lucia is just terrible. She has very bad availability. She doesn't even return in part 3. She returns in part 4. Ugh.
Peers.
At least I'm pretty sure she returns in part 4.
Definitely relying on triggering either criticals or Astro when she gets promoted to kill consistently. She can be made to work, but it really is going to come down to dealer's choice as to which stats matter to you the most in the end. Welcome to part 3, where everyone is essentially broken. Starting with our hollowed.
Okay, so that's the end of part 2. So he didn't mention Astrid. I'll give him that. That's pretty good. Part 2, I 100% agree with, except for Lucia. She's so bad. You only get her one chapter as well. Like, the fuck? Why is she even here? She has no strength. She has speed and skill. She has no strength. She needs a silver sword to actually be able to kill enemies in part 2, which is the second easiest part of the freaking game. Like, ugh, she's so bad. Okay, let's see part 3. Ike, fuck yes. Ike is a god.
Leader Ike. Definitely being toned down just a touch from his previous outing in Path of Radiance. Ike is so, like, ridiculous at endgame. This is normal mode, but, like, he can literally just solo this whole map. He's still quite dominant in this game.
He can, but you don't want him
to Ragnar for a longer duration in this title, which fixes any of the range issues he might have. He's actually killable this time around, so keep him clear of any powerful mages, as his resistance is a bit of his weak point. There is a strong argument to say that he's overall stronger in this iteration of the titles, but on paper, it feels like any advantages that he was given in Radiant Dawn is negated due to the difficulty rating. So that's up for discussion if you think he's better or worse than POR. Then on to our red hair.
I don't understand your point there. Ike is 1,000 times better than in Path of Radiance. In Path of Radiance, there is no option of a 2-range sword until you get the Ragnar. In Radiant Dawn, you get a Wind Edge, you could just give it to him, and then he has like permanent 2-range, making him one of the best units in the game, if not the best. And then he gets Ragnar, and he's like literally the best unit in the game. In Path of Radiance, he starts off weak, and he doesn't get good until he promotes. Ike is good from the get-go when you get him, and then he becomes a god, technically a god killer, in frickin' Radiant Dawn. Like, that's a massive, massive improvement.
Temptress Titania. You remember everything I said about her last time? Well, pretty much all that still applies to her, although it's been toned down just a bit. She'll still crush most units on the field with pretty much ease until late game, where she could have some issues doubling depending on what gross you ended up with. Probably her only major hindrance is going to be her lower than average HP, which definitely can be a bit scary in situations if you overextend her. There's definitely been some situations where I thought she would be able to just survive and she got clapped, so be careful with that. And to round out the Heron game, we have Rayson. Rayson is likely most players' go-to Heron, and typically considered the most fundamentally sound of the three due to having increased movement range, which can absolutely be a lifesaver if you plan on taking him to endgame.
Strategically, Rayson is the best Heron, because when he promotes, or not when he promotes, when he transforms, he gets not only more movement, he gets Canto, which is better, and he can dance for 4. Leanne has Canto, but she can only dance for 2, transform or untransform, so that doesn't matter for her. And then Raphael dances for 4 all the time, but he can't fly, he doesn't have Canto, which kind of sucks. Rayson is the best Heron, so I agree with this.
Especially once you actually get to the final boss, because she has AoE attacks, having him be able to get in and out is going to be invaluable. So if you want somebody that has good range, good movement, he's going to be your guy for that. And let's talk about the dynamic duo, Gatry and Shinon. Both are back and better than ever, and by better, I mean absolutely cracked out in this game.
Yep.
Let's start off with our red-haired Robin Hood, Shinon. Now, the first time I played this game, I thought I just hit the jackpot when it came to his growth, but on my subsequent playthrough, it became abundantly clear that this is just a pretty insane character, and he makes the other options, Rolf and Leonardo, completely irrelevant options when it comes time to pick your bowmaster.
Not necessarily. Well, Leonardo, 100%. He buries Leonardo. Rolf can actually become better than Shinon. It just requires a little bit more investment. But Rolf can be better. Higher strength, higher defense, I think, and then equal everything else to Shinon at the same level. So, like, Rolf can actually become better than Shinon, and I actually always use Rolf. If Rolf ends up really bad, I'll use Shinon. Shinon's really damn good too, but those two are pretty even if you actually go level by level, right? Because like let me actually do a quick calc. I'm curious. So let's see. Shinon has 21 strength. And yeah, Rolf is like, okay, so Rolf is level 1 sniper, Shinon's level 13. Rolf has 5 less strength than Shinon. No, he's got 4 less strength than Shinon. He's got 8 less skill, he's got 5 less speed. He's got 4 less defense. He's got 5 less res. Quite literally, Rolf can be better in every single aspect over Shinon at the exact same level. Because, like, yeah, he will easily have better strength and better speed and probably better skill. That's a questionable one. But, like, Rolf can 100% be better than Shinon, and it is not that difficult to do so. Especially on normal mode. Normal mode's kind of a breeze.
Because he arrives as a pre-promoted unit, you can use a bonus EXP to essentially cap...
They're all pre-promotes, technically. Shinon's a very high level. He's like level 14. Right? Shinon's level 14? Level 13, yeah. So you could promote him the second you get a Master Seal at base level. You could promote him, if that's what he means, but they're all technically tier 2 units, so they're all pre-promotes.
Robin Hood, Shinon. Now, the first time I played this game, I thought I just hit the jackpot when it came to its growth, but on my subsequent playthrough, it became abundantly clear that this is just a pretty insane character, and he makes the other options, Rolf and Leonardo, completely irrelevant options when it comes time to pick your bowmaster. Because he arrives as a pre-promoted unit, you can use the bonus EXP to essentially cap out the majority of his stats, making him an absolute powerhouse. This time with good evasion and very reliable damage, makes this man a complete menace. So let's talk about Big Papa Pump Gatry.
But if you want big damage, Rolf gets higher strengths. He caps strength faster, dealing more damage in a shorter amount of time. Just saying.
Now, Gatry is kind of whack in Path of Radiance. I didn't like him. I thought he was a terrible unit, actually. I didn't really like generals in that game at all.
Okay. On your second playthrough and beyond, you can get access to bans, and you get access to the Night Ward.
But this man...
The Night Ward is fantastic, as it grants an additional 30 speed to any cavalry, soldier, or knight, which includes Gatry. So Gatry can actually have like a 55% speed growth, and he can cap speed. He can cap strength, he can cap defense, he can cap skill. In my last playthrough, he capped pretty much everything but all those stats except skill. So he got strength, defense, and speed, which is fucking phenomenal. And a faster Gatry in Radiantdawn is so damn good. He's so damn good.
And has had a complete glow up. He has pretty good stats. He's a general, so he obviously has like resistance issues, speed issues, and stuff like that. But the way he's been tuned as far as his base stats and his growths, this man's gonna double throughout the entire game. You know what I mean? Like from the moment you get him until the end.
I don't know about that one. Max stats. Okay, so Lance Marshall. Yeah, he has like 31 speed, dude. He's not doing shit. There's no way he's doubling everything in the game. There's not a chance in hell. I'm actually curious. Dragon Lord. Yeah, Har has 32 speed. Har has one more point of speed. Jill has 35. Jill is doubling everything. Har and Gatry are not. There's no way. You will have to prove to me those two can double everything in the end game. There's no way in hell. If I find one unit that they cannot double, that whole thing falls apart. And I know there's a ton. I use them, I love them, but they can't double.
So let's talk about Big Papa Pump Gatry. Now, Gatry is kind of whack in Path of Radiance. I didn't like him. I thought he was a terrible unit, actually. I didn't really like generals in that game at all. But this man has had a complete glow up. He has pretty good stats. He's a general, so he obviously has like resistance issues, speed issues, and stuff like that. But the way he's been tuned as far as his base stats and his growths, this man's gonna double throughout the entire game. You know what I mean? Like from the moment you get him until the end, he's gonna always double unless you weight issues with weapons and stuff like that. So keep that in mind. But
okay, he's not weighed down by fuck all, right? What is his base strength? He's not weighed down by anything in the game right now, pretty much, except for like maybe legendary weapons or like a steel or like a silver great lance or like a steel great lance, maybe. Let me see. Yeah, he's got 25 strength, dude. Is there any lance that's heavier than that? Wait for. Yeah, no, he's not weighed down by a single weapon in the game, so that's just wrong. That is completely incorrect. Gatry cannot be weighed down, period.
At all. But this man has had a complete glow up. He has pretty good stats. He's a general, so he obviously has like resistance issues, speed issues, and stuff like that. But the way he's been tuned as far as his base stats and his growths, this man's gonna double throughout the entire game.
No.
You know what I mean? Like from the moment you get him until the end, he's gonna always double unless you weight issues with weapons and stuff like that. So keep that.
Yeah. No, he's not going to double throughout the entire game, and it's not because of weight issues with weapons, because there's nothing that weighs him down. No lance in the game is higher than like 18 weight, and he's got a 25 base strength, so there's nothing in the game that could weigh him down, really. Like, that's just wrong. That is just absolutely incorrect. His speed issues is the fact that marshals have a really low speed cap. Their speed cap is 31. Har's is 32. Pretty much, and in order for a unit to be really good in the end game for doubling, they have to have at least 34 speed. And Har and Gatry do not get close. They're at 32, 31, which sounds close, but it's really not. And that's assuming they can cap it. They can, possibly, but even if they do, it doesn't help them. It helps them not get doubled, but they don't get help killing. It's an issue. And like I said, it's not because he gets way down. He doesn't get way down by anything in the game.
That in mind, but he's very reliable.
Nah, you don't need to keep that in mind, actually.
Take, like,
he does not get way down
you can
by
just
anything.
send him down one lane. You know what I mean? He can take care of a whole lane. They're not going to really hurt him, and he could just pretty much kill everything. Any range issues can be easily solved by
I like that he calls like a line a lane. That's actually really cool. I like that.
Being quite strong.
It's like a bowling lane.
Definitely end-game viable.
Actually,
not...
that is like the perfect definition of Gatry. He's literally a freaking bowling ball. Just knocking down pins. He does have good HP. He does have really good defense. He has pretty solid res. He's got pretty okay speed, but he won't double everything. I'm pretty sure in this chapter that he's showing he's not doubling Sword Masters, for example. Which kind of
good stats. He's a general, so he obviously has like resistance issues, speed issues, and stuff like that.
Doubling everything.
But the way he's been...
Yeah, okay. I'm just going to point this out because I just noticed this.
At all. But this man has had a complete glow up. He has pretty good stats. He's a general, so he obviously has like resistance issues, speed issues, and stuff like that. But the way he's been tuned as far as his base stats and his growths, this man's gonna double throughout the...
He cannot double throughout the entire game. You just showed a video of him not doubling at the very beginning. So from start to end, he's not doubling everything. He cannot double Sword Masters. Sword Masters will always outspeed him. The tower will always outspeed him, but he won't get doubled if he has cap speed. But the tower will outspeed him, so he can never double. He's not doubling everything. There's no way in hell. This bugs me.
The entire
I'm sorry.
game. You know what I mean? Like from the moment you get him until the end, he's gonna always double unless you know weight issues with weapons and stuff like that. So keep that in mind. But he's very reliable. There's a lot of situations where he'll take like very minimal damage, and you can just send him down one lane. You know what I mean? He can take care of a whole lane. It's not gonna really hurt him.
Okay.
And he could just pretty much kill
This is one thing that I like about LC. He's got a really cool playing style with the map overview and whatnot.
Any range issues can be easily solved by a spear or a javelin. So this man ended up being quite strong. Definitely end-game viable. Not maybe as good as the Royals. So he's going to be one of the ones that's on the chopping block when it comes to the Royals. So that's up to you. But I thought that he was terrific in Radiantdawn. Like Gatry is definitely...
He's not doubling.
Show
me the doubling.
And then moving on to our Hawk boys, we have Janeth and Ulki. Probably some of the only non-Royal Lagoos worth fielding in this game. Both being flyers already put them in a class of their own with regards to their peers, and both come with exceptional base stats and growths. Here's some of the key differences. Janeth excels in strength, defense, luck, skill, and Ulki excels in speed, resistance, and avoid. So what that means essentially is that one is typically going to hit harder than the other, and the other is not going to get hit at all. That's pretty much what that means. They're two sides to the same coin, and you won't regret using either of them, although I don't typically use them in most of my playthroughs. They are definitely notable for sure. And now we have Mia.
Hang on, did you actually like...
Moving on to our Hawk boys, we have Janeth and Ulki. Probably some of the only non-Royal Lagoos worth fielding in this game. Both being flyers already put them in a class of their own with regards to their peers, and both come with exceptional base stats and growths. Here's some of the key differences. Janeth excels in strength, defense, luck, skill, and Ulki excels in speed, resistance, and avoid. So what that means essentially is that one is typically going to hit harder than the other, and the other is not going to get hit at all. That's pretty much what that means. They're two sides to the same coin, and you won't regret using either of them, although I don't typically use them in most of my playthroughs. They are definitely notable for sure. And now we have Mia.
Okay, so Janeth and Ulki are actually interesting in the fact that they both have preferred skills that no one else in the game has. Janeth hasn't like a skill that gives him like an extra 20 or 30 hit. Meanwhile, Ulki has a skill that gives him extra avoid, making him literally untouchable by 99% of the game. The game has to get super freaking... You have to get super unlucky to get Ulki killed. Because he's got a crazy high speed stat and a crazy avoid. Crossbows, which are one of the most accurate weapons in the game, will only have like a 20% hit chance on them. They will hit and kill Tabarn more often than they will hit and kill Ulki. That is fucking crazy, okay? You cannot underplay the Oki's special skill. I get Oki to level 30. I give him Terror, and yes, he does not have the same strength stat, but he has a pretty solid speed stat. So again, it's speed over strength, and 15 damage twice is better than 20 damage once. But it's even better if the 20 damage or the 15 damage twice can never get hit. It's fucking crazy. Oki is god tier. The best. Okay, between him and Janab, Oki is better.
Considered to be the very best of the available True Blades due to her high availability and ability to cap most stats
Thank you.
Swordmaster with the use of bonus EXP. Who very rarely get hit on the battlefield and will, after some time...
Again, the most optimal use for bonus experience is to not use it until a unit has capped stats. Because once they cap 2 stats, you can use the bonus XP to boost up the stats that are not capped. So Mia has a defense problem and a res problem. So what you can do is you can cap her strength, skill, speed pretty quick, and then you can use the bonus XP to bump up her stats that she's lacking and get those capped too. So yeah, that's something that you can do. That's like the optimal way to use bonus experience.
I mean, after the first few chapters, once she gets going, she'll pretty much slay all enemies, with ease. She's not going to really have a hard time out there. Very, very strong character. And to cap us off, we have the goddess Nephany.
I agree.
Now, Nephany, for some reason, is a great fan favorite. A lot of people just love Nephany.
Why the fuck is Nephany in Part 3, not Part 2? So Nephany is a unit that you get in Part 2 of Radiantdawn. She is on, technically, Chapter 1 of Part 2. It's her, Braum, and Heather. And with the data transfers from Path of Radiance, if you gave it to her, Jill and Nephany are the best users. And Mia. Those three are like the pinnacles of data transfers. Because Nephany comes in with a Steel Great Lance that will weigh her down by 2 speed. Because she has 2 less strength than the weapon's weight. But if you give her data transfers, her strength is equal to the weapon's weight, and she gets an extra 2 speed as well. So she's going to be hitting harder and a lot faster, because technically that 2 strength and 2 speed basically equate to 4 extra speed on her, which is fucking phenomenal. Nephany is a god, dude. Damn.
Nephany definitely grew on me. I didn't like her at all in POR. I kind of leveled her up just to do the data transfer. But I just think it's so weird, like when you see her talk and she's like
Did you not get the data transfer? Because like Nephany in Part 2 is kind of a monster. I mean, Nephany in Path of Radiance is a monster too. She can get skill, speed capped easy. She can get strength as well. So he does know about the data transfers. But then why not mention it for any of the units that are good with it?
Country like Bumpkin. It just looks so out of place in comparison to like her actual like what she looks like. So that always threw me off. But as far as like just a character, she was the second best unit in my entire recent playthrough after Har. She had the bonus HP.
Okay, you have to explain to me why Har is good. You have to, dude. You have to. I will message you in Discord. Tell me what makes Har better than anyone else. For the love of God, please. Him and Gatry do not double. What is this? Nephany would murder Har. Okay, actually that's not true because Har has a better defense stat, but Nephany has a good defense stat too, and she will double, which makes her twice as likely to proc and Pale and kill him. Statistically, Nephany would beat Har.
XP from POR, and now on paper she's not the most see her talk, and she's like a country like Bumpkin. It just looks so out of place in comparison to like her actual like what she looks like. So that always threw me off. But as far as like just a character, she was the second best unit in my entire recent playthrough after Har. She had the bonus XP from POR, and now on paper
it's not bonus experience, it's data transfers.
She's not the most impressive unit. If you just look at her stats and her growth and everything like that on paper, she's not really going to stick out because she has poor strength and defensive growth. And being saddled with that Steel Great Lance when you first get her really isn't doing her any favors. But the thing that she does have is very high availability. So you have a...
Okay, I'm going to pick this apart in a minute. Steel Great Lance, yeah, it weighs like... Okay, it weighs 18, so her strength is 16 normally. Yeah. Right? Base stats. Nephany. Yeah. Oh, she's weighed down by 3! with the Steel Great Lance. Oh, that is bad! So even with the strength transfer, she's still weighed down by 1, but that still makes her better than she was before. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. But if you did the data transfers, then why does it matter? Strength, data transfer, you could use... If you did data transfers optimally and not use stat boosters, save the stat boosters for the stats you want to get on a unit that didn't cap them, which is optimal, then she could easily have strength, and this Steel Great Lance problem isn't even a problem at all. And you mentioned her growth. He mentioned the growth rates. Let me see her growth, because I'm pretty sure her growth rates are fucking phenomenal. Yeah, 70 skill, 65 speed, 45 res. Yes, she does have 35 strength and 35 defense. But with bonus experience, it doesn't matter. She caps skill fast. She caps speed fast. And she, with +2 to each stat, she'll cap those even faster. You can use bonus experience to pump up her strength and her defense, and then she's god tier. Like, yes, she's gonna be a little wishy-washy for, like, a chapter or two. But then she's good to go. With 1 strength level up, she's golden, and she doesn't need anything else for a while.
Increased opportunity to be able to actually train. She was the second best unit in my entire recent playthrough after Har. She had, the bonus XP from POR, and now on paper she's not the most impressive unit. If you just look at her stats and her growth and everything like that on paper, she's not really going to stick out because
her skill and speed definitely sticks out. They are phenomenal growth rates, and that's all you really need is 2 high growth rates in Radiantdawn, and then you get bonus experience the rest.
Is poor strength and defensive growth, and being saddled with that Steel Great Lance when you first get her really isn't doing her any favors. But the thing that she does have,
it weighs her down by 1 if you do strength data transfer.
Is very high availability. So you have a increased opportunity to be able to actually train her, and that's all she really needs. Once she gets going, she is an absolute menace.
Thank you.
By the time Chapter 4 came around, I could just literally send Mia down one lane and Nephany down one lane, and they would just clear it, and that was it. You know what I mean? That's on hard difficulty. On Maniac mode, of course, this is going to be quite different.
Okay, he's talking about normal and hard. Maniac is hard, and hard is normal. I don't know why he's doing this to an English audience for the most part, because we're not playing the Japanese ROM, and if they're the exact same thing, then just leave it at easy, normal, hard. And also, there's no way you could tell me normal is actually difficult. It's not. It's so fucking easy. And easy is even easier. Easy is a freaking breeze. This is so weird. I know where he's coming from. They are the same thing but called different, but that's Japanese, and you're not playing a Japanese game. You're not speaking to a Japanese audience. A Japanese YouTuber would say Maniac. Although in Japanese, they would say hard and they would say normal. But in the English translations, which we use, it's easy, normal, hard. Like, I could boot up my Radiantdawn right now and show you. It's easy, normal, hard. So, like, when he's saying... You gotta, like, write down which one means what with what he's talking about in order to keep track.
So keep that in mind as well. And kind of as an asterisk, there's a couple characters I didn't go over. You probably noticed. I didn't really go over any mages. I don't really think... mages are definitely okay in this game and with respect to POR. But I think that you have a mandatory mage in Micaiah. And the only other mage I really liked, honestly, was Soren. I actually got Soren in Tier 3. And he can be good for sure, but the fact that you have 2 mandatory mages you have to take with you into the tower really just didn't make me want to train any other mages, honestly. There's some mages that you can definitely be made to work well, but I just think that in this game, they're okay. And when it comes to Grill Mercs, the only other character I think that is worth noting is Mist. She's okay. She's not bad. She has a horse, you know what I mean? But I think with Elincia being my key healer, and she just has better movement, I just would rather, and she can actually hit people harder. I would just rather have her as opposed to Mist in most cases.
I mean, that is fair, but I don't understand why you're bringing, like, Elincia to the tower. Elincia is not that good.
So, if you want to use Mist, that's fine. If
she's
not,
good, but, like,
I think...
Okay. So, let me get this straight. He has 2 mages in the tower. He's not going to train any others. But he has a staff unit in the tower who's force deployed Micaiah, but he's going to bring Elincia? What? Am I missing something? And also, Soren can use staves. Any of the mages can use staves. So what is Elincia here for? I don't understand. Because of her movement? I guess. But on indoor chapters, flyers have less movement. So it doesn't really matter. I don't know. I don't understand. I'm lost again.
I think she's one of the better characters for sure. So yeah, let's talk.
I'm not trying to argue that Mist is better than Elincia. I'm trying to argue the fact that, like, okay, the main reason you'd want to bring other mages is because the fire and light aren't the only types. You can get a legendary weapon from each type of magic, including dark. Bring one of each. Ilyana, thunder. Soren, wind. Sanaki, fire. And Micaiah, light. Peleus, dark. You don't need anything else. Like, that is perfectly fine. You can bring all 4 of them, and all of them will have uses in the tower. All of them can do shit. All of them are actually pretty fucking good if you actually use them. And if you promote them when they're capped level of the previous tier, you promote them. They're so damn good. And with data transfers, they're even better. Well, okay, Peleus doesn't get data transfers. Peleus is kind of eh. If you really want to point out what makes Sages bad in Radiant Dawn, it's their stat growths. Well, not stat growths. They're stat caps. Maximum stats. Okay. So, this is the issue with mages and sages and arc sages, right? Give me a minute. Fire sage, arc sage, fire male, fire female. 32. Yeah, Ilyana has like 30 speed at tier 4 as a cap. That's fucking garbage. All the others have 32 and she has 30, which is just bad. So they're about as fast as our boy Har, and they're still faster than Gatry. So, like, why the hell are you bringing, like, what? Anyway, I'm not gonna nitpick who he really brought, even though it baffles the hell out of me. But, like, you get Rex Bolt, you get Rex Aura, you get Rex Flame, you get Rex Caliber. That's all you need. Like, that's fucking perfect. One of each magic type is golden. But if you don't want to use every legendary weapon, that's fine. You can still, I still say, play Fire Emblem how you want to, but in a guide of who are the best characters, and you're bringing people like, you're using the logic of, don't bring mages because you already have 2, but I'll bring a healer even though I already have the best healer in the game. Micaiah with the physics staff has the best range out of anyone in the game. Her magic cap is freaking 40. She has really good range. She has the highest highest staff rank. Like, she gets higher staffs easier. She's the best mage tank. She can double. I think Micaiah can double, right? Let me double check. Micaiah even has better speed than the other mages. What are you talking about? Oh my god. Use them. They're so good. I can understand that mages are kind of they're not even really that difficult to train in Radiant Dawn normal. If this was a hard mode, and yes, I'm saying hard mode, he would say maniac. I'm saying hard because that's English. That's the English translation patch. That's like everything. That's what we play. Hard, the hardest difficulty, is a different ball game. There's no weapon triangle. Mages aren't nearly as good. Lots of units aren't nearly as good. But on normal, frick, the sages can do so well.
Talk about part 4. So to do this, I'm gonna actually jump over to the game screen so we can look at this together. We're just gonna do a breakdown of every single unit available to us in part 4, and see who's viable and who's not.
Okay.
So for part 4, I thought it would be better to actually just kind of look at this together for all the units that are available, and which ones make sense to actually take to chapter 4. So this will be a bit longer. I'll try and make it a bit concise. Ike, Micaiah, Soth, Sanakis, you already have to take all them. Sigrun could be good, you know what I mean? If you leveled her up, she could be viable for endgame.
No.
Not really my go-to, but yeah,
She's
you
bad.
can make it work. Screamier.
Tanith is better.
So the thing is, you probably either want Screamier or Gifka, and you can just give them the royal amulet, whatever it is, the Lagouge gem, I believe, and that just allows them to stay transformed for the entire match. It's kind of a trade-off. I think they're pretty like equal, you know, in terms of strength. You know, I prefer Gifka to
Gifka, okay, with data transfers, Gifka can come in with cap strength, so it doesn't matter. Skrimir, you have to level Skrimir so damn hard to get on the same level as Gifka, because Gifka joins capped, doesn't he? I'm pretty sure Gifka comes into the game at max level. Or, like, really fucking close to it. Let's see. Gifka, level 36. Yeah, he's like 4 levels away from being capped. Skrimir's like fucking 13. Skrimir's stats are not nowhere near as good. Gifka's a god in comparison. But why would you bring either of them when you could just bring the Lion King and just trivialize the maps?
I think he's cool. I don't like Screaming. I think he's fucking whack as a character, but he's very, very powerful on the field, right? So it's up to you. I think you either want
He's good and he's
Screamier
outclassed.
or Gifka.
Like, he mentions the Laguz gem. Wouldn't you rather want to use the Laguz gem on Raisin so he's always transformed for those maps? So you can always use 4 dance, like, revitalize 4 people at the same time all the time, except for turn 1? Like, it's pretty fucking good. Like, that's the optimal use for the Laguz gem. For one of them is him. Because he's really is Raisin is because he's really fucking good.
But probably not both. Nasala, it's up to you if you want to bring Nasala. I never bring Nasala. I think Nasala is the weakest of all the royals.
Yep.
He does have that situation where he can hit from further away, but once you start getting higher in the tower, he doesn't do any damage. You know what I mean? Like, by the time you get to the dragons, like, what does it matter? You're not doing any damage, even if you are safer, you know, technically.
He's faster than any of them, but he is weaker. So I do agree he is the worst Laguz royal, but that doesn't mean he's bad. That's like saying he's like the worst, best person on Earth. Like, what? It sounds wacky, but that's basically what Nasala is. He's like the worst of the best, which is still pretty damn good. Like, you wouldn't bring fucking Neolucci or Vika over Nasala. Like, you also wouldn't bring Skrimir over Kanigas.
Don't like him. Don't like him for endgame, but I mean, your mileage may vary. I did already got to go over the herons. I think in most cases, the heron that you want is going to be Raisin. But Leanne is good.
I'm actually intrigued, and I can actually see like what levels they are, what's like promotion they are. I want to see who he grinded up, who he used, and who didn't.
Nolan, in most cases, I don't think really. He...
Okay, so I forgot to mention this part 3. So there's a couple funny things you can do in part 3 of Radiantdawn that are just so fucking funny. You can give Volug. You can have Volug untransformed, give him Resolve, give him Beast Foe, and he will literally punch the cats and tigers to death. And he will double because he'll get Resolve. It is the funniest fucking shit. Watching this little, like, freaking wimpy little wolf man just be like, boom, and kill. It's the funniest fucking thing. And, so that's one thing you can do when it comes to the Laguz chapter, where it's the Dawn Brigade versus the Laguz. The one where it's the Dawn Brigade versus the Laguz and the Grail Mercenaries, you can give the Beast Foe like what he did here. You can give the Beast Foe to Nolan as a warrior, equip the crossbow, and literally one-shot all the Laguz at the bottom of the, like, the gaps. Like, below, like, down ledge. Any beast down ledge, he will just one-shot with the crossbow. Done. He's literally just going hunting out there. It's freaking great. He is so damn good. So I think that's a strat he did here. But if he did, his Nolan should be way higher level. He should be like level 10, level 8, level 9, level 10. I don't know why he's level 5, but that is definitely a strat that is 100% viable, and it is funny as hell, both of them. Just equip Volug just once. You have to try it once. Even if Volug dies, just restart the chapter. But watch how funny it is watching Volug dodge everything once he gets resolved, get us a fuck ton of XP, give him Beast Foe, and watch him punch all these cats to death. It's the funniest fucking thing.
He has a really, really stiff competition to make it to the tower.
Yep.
He can be good there.
Like Jill.
He can do work there. And the fact that he's an Earth Affinity, if he has some built-up supports with 2 people that, you know, are support A at least, and you're taking to the tower, he can be very viable there.
If I remember correctly, you actually can't support more than 1 unit in Radiantdawn, if I remember correctly. I actually have never tried. I'm pretty sure you can only do 1, though. But if I'm wrong, I apologize. I only ever use 1. Even when I was a kid, I only ever used 1. I'm going to try that next time. But I'm pretty sure it's glitched. I'm pretty sure... I want to say you can only do 1 support partner, not more than 1. But, I mean, if I'm wrong, I will... Comment section, if I am wrong, tell me. For the love of God, tell me. Because for the longest time, I thought you could only support one unit in Radiantdawn. And the support conversations are non-existent, okay? The support conversations are fucking stupid. Although, Volug's are funny, okay? Volug's support conversations are hilarious. Because, like, there's still no depth with the character he's conversing with. But, like, it's still fucking hilarious to watch him just be like, hey, I wonder what the enemies would do if I just, like, ran in there and, like, ripped a person in half and walked away. I wonder how they would react. Like, it's just conversations like that are so damn funny. But all the others are like, hi, I hope you're doing okay. Yes, I hope you are as well. Like, it's so boring, dude.
Z-Hark, you need a lot of work in order for him to be viable there. Har is kind of like a must-have in the tower.
No, he's
Jill,
not.
Pretty much also.
Wait, you have Jill higher than Har. How? I see Paragon, but like...
Z-Hark, you need a lot of work in order for him to be viable there. Har is kind of like a must-have in the tower. Jill, pretty much also a must-have.
Okay, so they're both must-haves, but pretty much also, and Har is a definite, is just the worst thing. That's like, that is my least favorite take LC has, okay? That is my least favorite take, is apparently Har is better than Jill. That's just wrong. That is just wrong. I am sorry, that is incorrect. In every way, shape, and form.
Janif and Oki, I'll go over these together. Janif and Oki, because you have the Royals, you already have Tibarn, it's really stiff competition. And if you really like these characters, then just don't bring Gifka or Screamier and just give them the Laguz gem. This is if you've been leveling.
Okay, but why are you bringing either of them when you have the Lion King? The Lion King eclipses both of them. And also, Gifka's better than Screamier, so why are you bringing Screamier?
Higher game. And
Screamier should not even be in this conversation. Screamier is good for the chapters you don't have the Lion King. Once you get the Lion King, Screamier is severely outclassed, severely underleveled. He's just bad.
Pretty decent.
He's good when you have him, when you need to have him, when you're forced to have him. But when you have the option to have him, you have other units that are just better.
You know, they could be good. You know what I mean? If you really like those characters, I think Stefan kind of pretty much comes ready for the tower.
He's level 8. He doesn't have very good strength. Edward and Mia will have better stats than him at this level. So, if those two died, sure, take Stefan over Lucia any day of the week. But, like, he's nowhere near as good as the other two. He might have more HP. Woo. Yay. He still dies faster than the other two.
I think Mia still is a bit stronger than him, but your mileage may be...
And Edward.
Very honest when it comes to that. I like Stefan. Stefan is the coolest character in this game, and the last game.
He is pretty damn cool. His backstory is fucking sick. He's like a half tiger or something. Super, super cool. But, like... I guess that's a best character, but that's not a best unit.
Game, I think. But I think I still prefer Mia, but he's not a bad pick at all, especially with Vaycati, if you want to bless that.
Any sword user can use Vaycati. Mia can use Vaycati. Edward can use Vaycati. Vaycati doesn't matter.
It's a good pick. Very same critical rating on a infinite durability weapon. Good.
That could be the said for the same for Mia or Edward.
Ileana, all the mages I'll go over right now. I don't think any of the mages are really, you want to put them in game because you already saddled with 2 mages and both of them are really, really good.
What?
So I wouldn't be bringing more mages. The only mage
Why is she so underleveled?
The coolest character in this game.
Dude!
But I think I still prefer Mia, but he's not a bad pick at all, especially with Vaycati, if you want to bless that. That's a good pick. Very same critical rating on a infinite durability weapon.
Yeah, that doesn't matter, dude.
Ileana, all the mages I'll go over right now. I don't think any of the mages are really, you want to put them in game because you already saddled with 2 mages and both of them are really, really good.
Okay, Sanaki sucks. Okay? Sanaki is way down by her personal tome. She's way, way down by the Rex Flame. She's way down by basically every fucking tome that she could use. Except for maybe, like, Elwind. Maybe Arcwind. But she's way down by literally everything else. The Sanaki sucks. She can't double. She can't kill. She can't survive. Sanaki is, like, the worst possible tier 3 Sage, she can get better, but she will never be good. Micaiah can be phenomenal. Micaiah is fucking crazy. She has the highest speed cap of all the Sages, which automatically makes her pretty damn good. She also has a really high staff rank, which makes her automatically pretty freaking good. She could get double SM staves and light magic at the same time, which is phenomenally good. But, like, all the others are better than Sanaki, so, like, why? Ileana is the only Thunder Mage. She's the only one that could get double S rank in Thunder. And Rexbolt is... Okay, dragons are weak to Thunder. Why wouldn't you bring a Thunder Sage? Better yet, why wouldn't you bring a Thunder Arc Sage? So, I understand the issue with Ileana is that she joins in the Dawn Brigade, but I've already said the Dawn Brigade you can grind on. And even if you don't want to grind, just don't level up the bad ones and level up Ileana. Get her to tier 2. Tier 2 Ileana can double shit. If she gets data transfers from Path of Radiance, she could be even better. She could double pretty much everything in the game. And she could do it better than Gatry. Why isn't she in there? Magical damage range is great. She has strength, so she can wield the bolting later on with no penalties. Thunder Tomes are heavy, yes, but she has a good strength growth. She can get better speed. She has a good speed growth. Why wouldn't you not bring Ileana to a dragon chapter where she can literally one round, maybe even one shot dragons? That is her best use, is in the tower. So why not bring her? And also, Sages get staves. Whether they're pre-promotes or not, they get staves. Having multiple physics healers is a really good thing, and he likes Elincia, so he understands how good the physic is. So imagine having multiple physic users. You literally cannot lose. You cannot die. So, like, the hell?
Anyway, so I wouldn't be bringing more mages. The only mage I would consider bringing is going to be Soren, and that's because you have the most time to train him and Ileana.
Wait a minute. What did he mention there?
Infinite durability weapon, good. Ileana, all the mages I'll go over right now. I don't think any of the mages are really, you want to put them in game because you already saddled with 2 mages and both of them are really, really good anyway.
Sanaki sucks. Show me Sanaki being good. There's no way you had a doubling Sanaki. Unless you grinded the hell out of her XP. But she's not good.
So I wouldn't be bringing more mages. The only mage I would consider bringing is going to be Soren, and that's because you have the most time to train him and Ileana. That's up to you, though. Marcia could be...
Ileana's more available than any other mage. I'm pretty sure. Soren is there for like 3 chapters. Ileana's not, but Ileana's there for like 6 chapters. Soren is not, so Ileana is more available. So why is Ileana not tier 2? Just saying.
Be good as well.
One thing that you can also do in part 1 of Radiantdawn is you can give Ileana items that are worth a lot of money. You could take off the stupid fortune skill off of Meg, sell that for 3,000 gold, but like unequip it, trade it to Ileana. When Ileana joins the Grail Mercenaries don't have a whole lot of money. So if you transfer over a bunch of the money items from the Dawn Brigade to Ike's army, it multiplies the usefulness of Ike's army. Like 1,000-fold. So Ileana is really freaking good. I don't understand why he's not using her. It actually bothers the hell out of me. But yeah, Ileana good. Ileana is good. I would recommend using her. If you haven't used her, you gotta use her. She's freaking good. It might take her a little bit to get going, but guess what? Once she does, she's better than freaking... She can be just as good as Soren. She has the same speed cap. Oh no, she's 2 less speed than Soren. So she won't always double, but she will get one-shots on dragons, which makes the dragon part of the tower phenomenally easier. But yeah. And also, like I said, sages on promotion get healing, and healing is broken, especially physic, with high magic units. Actually, I could argue Eliana over Elincia in one easy way. Magic stats. Elincia cannot physic nearly as well, and Elincia is better combat than a healer. If you use her for if you're not counting dancers, you use her for healing, she's gonna hit back with a staff, which hampers her frickin' fighting capability. Her fighting capability is even better than Ileana, but Ileana's staff capability is leagues better than Elincia. 40 magic, cut in half is 20 range. 20 range physic, busted. 20 range fortify is busted as hell because of basically the entire map. Like, come on.
I didn't really use Marcia this time around, but she's a pretty decent unit.
Neither do I.
think she has really stiff competition. You really have to, like, do you want Marcia over Har or over Jill? Like, that's
no, Marsha is the worst. Like, Dragon Knights, Dragon Riders are the best units, like one of the best classes in the game. Falcon Knights have lower strength but higher speed, but Jill has such a good speed stat it kind of eclipses it. Okay, so you're saying you'd bring you wouldn't bring Marsha over Har or Jill, but Jill is outright better than Marsha and Har, so
it's really, really stiff competition, man. I can't see it, honestly.
She's better than
Tanith.
Tanith.
Like,
no, she's better than Tanith.
I would
she's better than
prefer to have the Draco Knights. Then they could be better. You know, they have trade-offs, of course, but I just think that Tanith, Marcia, and Sigrun, I think, are worse units than Jill and Har. Might be a hot take, but I just don't think they're as end-game viable.
No, that's not a hot take, dude. That is not a hot take at all. You are 100%... Actually, why, if you're not using Edward, do you still have Wrath? You do know the skills can be taken off and put on other units, right? You mentioned Paragon, so why not do it for Wrath? Give a unit Wrath Resolve. Make them the most busted unit in the game. Literally anyone. So, like, why not do it? It's so easy. It's sitting right here.
If you train him from the very beginning, he could be good for endgame. Fiona...
He can be really good for endgame. He could be better than Mia in some instances. At worst, a tier 2 Edward is still really helpful for the Dawn Brigade chapters. Edward is one of the best units you have in the Dawn Brigade, even if you don't bring him into the tower. So why is he unpromoted? Promote your Edward, please! Promote him to your second tier, and if he ends up being better than Mia, bring him to the tower. But if he doesn't end up being better than Mia, bring Mia. But don't leave him unpromoted. He's better than Fiona by like 1,000-fold. What are you going to say about Fiona?
Fiona, I don't like at all. I don't think she's a
Preach! Fiona's trash.
Good character. Mordecai, same thing with all the Lagoos. You know, I'm not going to keep repeating that because it's pretty much the same thing over and over again. If you really like these characters and you don't want to use a Royal, just give them a Lagoos gem. You could bring them if you train them through the whole game. Aaron could be good. He doesn't have a lot of time, though. Like, he has chapter 1 and then he has chapter 3. But I think if you really want a soldier, like...
Oh, part 1, part 3. That's a lot of time. What are you talking about? That's like... at least a quarter of the game, but then he's around for the end game as well. Like, the part 4 stuff. So he's around for like 3/4 of the game, at least. Well, maybe not 3/4. Maybe 5/8 of the game he's around for. But, like, still, how is that not available? Okay, the Dawn Brigade's problem is they need a tank. He has a tank! Aran is a tank! He will get doubled, but if it's not a mage, it doesn't matter, because they won't deal any damage. Like, Aran can literally sit there, take axe hits, and he's just fine. Why is he unpromoted too? Oh my god! So many good units are unpromoted! Ah, it hurts my soul. Okay. Again, Aran has bad speed, but he caps strength, skill, defense. He usually can be like 15 speed at level 20, give or take. Like maybe like between 13 and 15. And then you promote him, and he gets like an extra point of speed from that. He won't get doubled as easy. He might still get doubled, but again, if he gets doubled, he takes no damage. And then, again, he'll cap strength, skill, defense by like level 6 of tier 2. And that gives you 14 levels to hit speed, which he can do. He can be better than Nephany because he has a higher strength, defense, and freaking skill. Like, promote Aran too! Get them all to level 20, promote them all. Tell me how good they are, please.
Halberdier, Nephany's probably your better choice because you have more availability, more time to train her.
Nephany is less available, dude. Nephany is less available. Aran's around for, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. He's around for like 5 extra chapters beyond Nephany. Well, actually, Nephany is in the Grail Mercenary chapters too. They're about the same. Maybe Nephany's around a little bit more. But like, okay, you can't be looking at it as this unit in a completely different army is around more, so I'm not going to use this one at all. You need to use him to survive the Dawn Brigade chapters, because the Dawn Brigade chapters are shit. They are so damn hard. The Dawn Brigade is the hardest part of the game, so why not use every asset you have, make every asset as useful as possible, except for the ones that are fucking useless, and use them! Promote Iran, promote Edward, promote Nolan, so that at least you can survive part 3 chapters. If they're not promoted, I don't know how you survive the part 3 chapters. Who did you tank with? Because Toronio's on the other side of the map for that rock pushing off the cliff chapter. Who did you... Tell me who you tanked with. Because you gotta send units down south. Because the green units will not wall for you. They're terrible. The green units are so stupid. There's actually a green Dragon Master who's really freaking good, but all the other green units suck, and they just die. And you have to kill enemies in order to get through that chapter. And without Toronio, who you tank with? You can't tank with Soth. He's not tanky. You can't tank with Meg. She's unpromoted. You can't tank with Iran. He's unpromoted. You can't tank with Edward in terms of dodging because he's not promoted. Who did you tank with? How did you get through that chapter? Volug? Volug's not tanky and he does not dodge. Not in part 3.
But you could definitely bring him. Danvid, we don't speak of that. he could be good. Same thing. Torma, no. Nyla, I always bring. She is kind of like middle of the road. I feel like when it comes to Royals, she's not nearly as good as Kinigas. I think she's slightly worse than Timarn. That's how I kind of look at her. She gets hit more often, it seems, in the tower, but she does have higher skill rating, so it seems like she does trigger tear quite a bit, or whatever it is, her critical quite a bit. So that's entirely up to you. I tend to bring her just because she has really good movement, and she's less of a viability than say if you just brought a red Mibla Goose. You don't have to worry about any type of gauges or anything like that. She's good. Vika, Murum, definitely not. Titania was strange, right? Because Titania, I think, I still like her. She's not quite as insane as she was in POR, but she's definitely viable to bring into the tower. I think you want to try and adjust her skills just a bit. Imbue, giving her Imbue when she gets to level 3 is pretty good, but unlike what I did here, she's only level 7 here, so it means you either have to dump in a lot of bonus EXP, or you kind of just need to feed her kills throughout Chapter 4, which I kind of did. Stop using her kind of midway through Chapter 4. Soren, I think, is good. I got him to tier 3, but again, mages, we already kind of went over that. Shinon, I think, is a must-have. That's just me, though. I think Shinon is like... Shinon was just ridiculous. And the fact that he gets a double bow in the tower, I think you want to try and adjust her skills just a bit. Imbue, giving her Imbue when she gets to level 3 is pretty good, but unlike what I did here, she's only level 7 here, so it means you either have to dump in a lot of bonus EXP, or you kind of just need to feed her kills throughout Chapter 4, which I kind of did. Stop using her kind of midway through Chapter 4.
I usually stop using her midway through Chapter 3.
I got him to tier 3, but again, mages, we already kind of went over that. Shinon, I think, is a...
Yeah, Soren's a hell of a good Arc Sage. He's got staffs. Staffs are broken. He's got Adept. So even if he doesn't double, he'll more than likely double, because Adept is procced off of speed, and he's got 32 speed cap, so that's like 1/3 of the time he's going to double anyway. And if he's not going to double, he could still possibly double. Granted, any unit can be given Adept. Soren gets it for free, which is a benefit to him, specifically. But, like, high-speed units kind of use Adept well. Soren's pretty fucking fast. I usually give Jill Adept as well, and a 35-speed Adept Jill is fucking bonkers. She will double, or she will triple, or she will quad. It's fucking stupid.
They must have. That's just me, though. I think Shinon is, like... Shinon was just ridiculous. And the fact that he gets a double bow in the tower...
Why are you keeping all the useless skills on these units? Take them off and sell them. You do know you can sell skills, right? I know you can... I know you can swap them around, but you can sell them, right? Free money, bro. Free money.
If you're going to bring a Bowmaster, Rolf and Leonardo they just pale in comparison to him. Like,
get Rolf to the same level as Shinon. Tell me who's better. Rolf will be better 99 times out of 100 in almost every single stat. It's getting Rolf there is the slightly hard part, but you're on Radiant Dawn normal mode. It's not that hard. Just stop using Shinon, use Rolf. Rolf will literally be the same stats as Shinon in a few levels. In a handful of levels. Like, it's not that hard. This is Radiant Dawn normal. Come on.
They have, Rolf has equal availability, but he just comes ready to go, and the fact that he gets a bonus EXP with the skills cap, the attribute capping, easier. It's just easy.
Wait, what?
Like, Shinon was just ridiculous. And the fact that he gets a double bow in the tower, if you're going to bring a bowmaster, Rolf and Leonardo they just pale in comparison to him. Like, they have, Rolf has equal availability, but he just comes ready to go. And the fact that he gets a bonus EXP with the skills cap, the attribute capping, easier. It's just,
I have no idea what he's talking about here. I'm assuming he's talking about data transfers. If you manage to get data transfer Shinon, dude, kudos. What are Shinon's chances to cap any given stat in Path of Radiance? Let me see. Path of Radiance. Chance to cap. Shinon. There's no way you got data transfers on your Shinon, dude. You would have had to have hit the 22 percentile. Oh, no, 28. Maybe skill. 15% speed. 6% strength. There's no way you hit that. So there's no way Shinon's getting bonuses from Path of Radiance.
Just easy, man. There's no reason not to use him. This character literally, like, will just carry. He's ridiculous. Boyd, same thing as Nolan. I think him and Nolan are kind of the same. You can bring them if you... he doesn't have Earth Affinity, so I think he kind of, in order to be good in the tower, you kind of need to, like, really work at him throughout the entirety of the game. Like, I got him to tier 3, but I don't know, man. He's going to have stiff competition.
He did better with freaking...
Same thing with Oscar. I didn't really like Oscar in this game. I don't know why. Like, I really liked him in POR.
He did better with Boyd than I did, so kudos for that.
I don't know, dude. There's something about him. He seems like kind of a bit weaker. I would actually, in some cases, prefer to have, like, Jeffrey, if that makes sense. I don't know why. He's a good unit, though, and he could definitely do work in the tower, but you need to invest quite a bit into him, and I did not. Gatry, I think, if I wasn't bringing the Royals, I definitely would have brought Gatry into the tower. That's my guy.
Okay, so how I typically do the tower is I bring one unit for each weapon type, so each person, like, every single legendary weapon will be used, right? So Gatry, his only competition with the Lance, in terms of viability, is Nephany. Typically, Nephany's better. Nephany gets screwed somehow. Gatry's amazing replacement. Because he's tanky as shit. He won't double everything! That is false. But he's still pretty damn good.
Really a fucking good unit. Like, the fact that he doubles everything as a general is, like, kind of hilarious. Like, they don't...
No! Okay, first off, this is Marshall Gatry. Second off, even as a general, you showed a clip of him earlier not doubling. He does not double everything. There's no... You cannot prove to me he doubles everything. He's not doubling everything in part 3, where he is arguably the best. He is not anywhere close to doubling in part 4.
You don't do much damage to him, but he, like, does insane damage to everybody else.
That is correct.
I think he's good. But also keep in mind, with some of these characters, you only get one of each in order to bless the weapons. So you don't want to bring, like, 2 Lance users or something like that, because they won't be able to hit anything. So this...
But you're bringing all 3, one mage for each type? But you're going to mention this for, like, oh, dude, you're hurting my soul. Oh. Okay.
Keep that in mind. That's going to be a consideration by the time you get to the tower and you start to fight some less levels. Raphael?
Yes, he's literally just saying exactly what I just said. I bring every legendary weapon, one person for each. So how I decide who I'm bringing is I look, because you could actually do this in the unit screen before you choose your units in the tower. You can sort them by class. You can sort them by weapon rank and then by class. Or actually just do weapon rank, it's faster. Sort by weapon rank, look at the top units for that weapon, and debate between them. So I go, like, sword. Well, Mia's double S, Stefan's double S, Edward is, like, S and, like, level 15. So I'm like, okay, so next. Let's look at the stats of each unit. Mia's better in this regard than Stefan. Edward's better in this regard than Mia, and he's better in compensation to Stefan, so Edward is better. So I bring Edward. You can do that for literally every single weapon in the game, pretty much. There's only one dark magic user, though, and you only get him on your second playthrough and beyond. But, like, every other weapon, like, okay, you're bringing Ike, who has a freaking unbreakable sword that's 2 range. Why are you bringing Elincia? You have Micaiah, who has who can easily get a double S rank in staves. Why are you bringing Elincia? So, like, man.
Good pick. Heather, trash. Oliver's a
Agreed.
good pick also. He's probably, honestly, one of the only other mages, like, outside of the other 2, that you might want to consider. You get him kind of late, though, dude. That's a chapter 4 character. Is that...
Part 4 character. But I think it's actually Part 4, Chapter 4, isn't it?
It's up to you. If you want to train him, he could be good. Reese.
Oliver's great for the memes, but, like, you have... In his example, you have Micaiah. Why would you bring Oliver? Unless you really love Oliver, and some people really do. I don't know why, but he's funny. His conversation with frickin' the herons is the funniest. It's the funniest thing.
My resident...
We're getting, like... Raphael's just... Ike's just like... Because you recruit him by having him talk to the heron. And then Ike walks up, he's like, hey, aren't these your men? He's like, yes, but I must protect the precious. And Ike's just like, please go back to the enemy team so I can kill you. It is the fun. If you haven't seen that conversation, you have to watch it. It is so funny.
Healer is either going to be Micaiah or Elincia. He could be made to be good, though, but I just didn't use him. I've already talked about Mist.
You have Micaiah, what do you need Elincia? You have
this
Ike,
entire
what do you
row,
need
there's no
Elincia?
reason to really bring any of these. You have to invest so much resources in order to make them viable. I just don't think it's good. Macalot.
I mean, that is fair. That is, like, if you don't want to, like, truly commit to a unit, you can use Shinon. Shinon's pretty freaking good. But Rolf will always be better than Shinon in almost every way, shape, and form at the same level. If you deduct Shinon's gross, like if you take Shinon's gross, multiply them by his bases, and then subtract your way down to level 1, Rolf looks like a god, dude. I'm just saying, Shinon looks pretty bad.
Is okay. He's cavalry. I mean, cavalry's good in this game. I just think he's whack.
Makulov's trash.
I don't like his personality. He's okay. He's probably one of the weaker cav units.
Makulov's trash. Not only is he a sword unit with bad bases, bad gross, he's also freaking, like, not available for a majority of the game, and when you actually do get him back, he's literally unusable because everyone else is already tier 3. Or everyone that's of importance is tier 3.
Laura, I didn't like her at all. The fact that, I mean, you can make her strong if you use the like sacrifice abuse, where you sacrifice and you keep healing her over and over again. With her and Micaiah, she can be made.
That is actually a really good strat. Have Micaiah sacrifice a unit in front, and then have Laura heal her, because when Micaiah sacrifices, she gets 10 XP. When Laura heals, she gets 10 XP. So that's basically 10 XP for each unit per sacrifice. That's actually really clever. I never thought about that. Kudos. That is actually a really good strat.
Made to be incredibly good, but she just whatever. She's just a standard healer. She's like Reeds. I mean,
she's leagues better than Riss. Riss is all magic and res and luck. He's got no defense, no speed. Laura has speed. Laura has magic. Laura has res. Laura has skill. She could easily cap these things.
Volag, I would not bring into the tower unless you absolutely love this man and you've been training him. Leonardo, no.
Leonardo is a no.
Typically, that was a heron that I brought. Randolph, I don't know. See, this is the thing about Randolph. Randolph isn't a bad character. Like, I don't think he was bad in this game, and I don't think he was bad in POR. But I just think that the fact that you know that you're going to get these royals makes it just marginalizes every other Laguz that you have, because you know.
So if it marginalizes, then why mention Scremier to bring to the tower? Gipka is better than him, and then Kanigas is better than both of them. That's why you don't bring Ranulf, is because Kanigas is better than him. Though he does have a point, Ranulf is actually a really fantastic freaking character. Get him to level 30, give him Rend. Even give him Adept. I think he can get. I think he could take Adept. Give him Adept too. He's got really high speed. He'll quad, and he'll kill with Freaking Rend. It is the funniest thing watching this really super fast cat just wreck everything on the field. He's almost untouchable. He's almost like, he's not quite Oki level untouchable, but he's really, really close. It's actually kind of crazy. Oh my god, give him resolve. Let him get in resolve range, untransformed, and then once he transforms, he's a literal god. Oh, that is so satisfying to think about. But yeah, Run Elf is pretty freaking good. If you at least get him to level 30, give him Rend, and just watch him go. Like, please. It is so satisfying to watch.
No, you're going to get the best of the best to cream the crop. So there's no reason to even invest in these characters, because they're very self-sufficient in the chapters that they come in. It makes no sense to even use them past their specific section. Bulk, I think, he could definitely do work in the tower. He has really horrendous availability. I think you get this man literally right before the end. Not good. And then moving on to Lucille Ball, I think she could definitely be good. I mean, she's the worst of the sword masters in my opinion. I think that's widely accepted.
Mm-hmm.
Edward becomes better than her if you train him from the beginning to the end. I just think that there's no real reason to use her. I mean,
Edward becomes better than her literally at tier 2, level 1.
Incredibly good power weapons.
Like, Edward will be just as good in a lot of stats or better.
We don't speak. Astrid and Meg, I think, are some of the worst characters in this game.
Thank you! I was so worried you would say, like, Astrid is good because of, like, Paragon or some such shit. Thank you. Like, thank you for actually, like, oh my god, dude, that is such a relief. Oh, thank you. Fortune is worth 3,000 gold! Why is it still on Meg? Sell that shit! So, for those of you who do not know, if there's any skill that's useless, like Mercy or Fortune, or like, well, actually, Fortune's not useless, but I don't use it. Sell that shit! It's worth so much. Skills are worth more money than you think. A really good way to utilize your money resources is to sell skills that are worth money.
Even if she has, she doesn't have... These just are bad, dude. Like, Meg is just... I don't know.
So, I've had 3 good Megs out of over 80 playthroughs. I do agree Meg is pretty bad, but Leonardo's even worse. Fiona's even worse. Astrid is even worse. Meg is not absolute dog poop, but she's definitely not the best.
We don't speak of it. Tornado could be good, but I think he's worse than Gatry. Kieran definitely is viable. Another Laguz, Braum, whack. Khalil, just like the rest of the mages, there's really, I mean, she probably has more of her and Oliver probably have a stronger argument to actually come into the tower if you want.
Why? Fire Sage! You have freaking Sanaki for fire. Why would you bring Khalil? She's just worse Sanaki. Actually, she might have more speed than Sanaki. She might actually be better than Sanaki, but you already have a Fire Sage. You don't need another. If you're gonna bring another Sage, bring freaking Ileana. So you actually can use lightning magic against dragons that are super effective by it.
Mages, for whatever reason. Mages can definitely do work in the tower.
Yes.
Well, that's entirely up to you.
Like Thunder Mages.
Kaida, no. Neolucci, no. Bash, same with the Sages. Jeffrey, I think, is pretty good. So let's talk about the dragon. Okay. So we have Kurth Naga, and then inside the tower, you get Nasir, and you also get access to Garrett. All 3 of them can be good, but you really kind of need to invest. The passives that they get, Night Tide, White Pool, and Red Pool, are just fucking insane. Like, they literally this increases defense and resistance by...
I would actually argue that Kurth Naga is actually pretty solid. He has the highest speed stat cap out of any dragon. He can hit like a truck. Get him to level 30. I usually give him and a Paragon. I give them both Paragon. Because I think in this game you get like 3 Paragons. Let's see. Astrid, Joffrey, and part 1 in the Dawn Brigade, you get Paragon as well. So you get like 3 Paragons, at least. Yeah, give 1 to each dragon. Give 1 to someone else. Enna is trash. I'm not going to argue that. Enna's pretty bad. She's really weird because she's like built like a white dragon, but she's red, so I mean she can't damage. But like, her and Kurth Naga are really good in the tower because in the dragon chapter, dragons just won't attack them. So you literally use Kurth Naga and Enna to plug up an entire hallway together, and they're completely uncontested because no one attacks them. So that is like 1 hallway's worth of reinforcements that you will never have to see.
5 points, and then the other one's like attack, and then the other one's like skill. all three of them put together, like, you can literally almost one-shot some of these enemies. The thing is that you have to really kind of dump a lot of bonus EXP into them. I tried to do that in my most recent run, and then they just got slaughtered by a Shara. So I was like, that's not going to work.
It's because you didn't actually truly level them. You can't just use bonus experience. You have to use Paragon too, my friend. And I'm willing to bet you do not bring any Paragons into this tower.
But if you put if you feed them kills, like, it's really hard because there's only 2 more levels. If you try and feed them kills and you put bonus EXP into them, they can withstand, you know, the AoE attacks that she does, and they become invaluable. So Kurthanaga, Garrett, and Nasir are really good for deployment for those last chapters because they're really strong for speed runs, and they just make one character absolutely broken.
For speed runs? How? Actually, how? I don't think speedrunners use them, really. I don't think. I might be wrong. I don't know much about Radiantdawn speedrunning, but like, the only one that really helps is the speed one, and that is the Red Tide. I'm pretty sure is the speed one, isn't it? Let me check. I could fact check, because you don't need anything but the speed. Really, realistically, that's the only one that you actually need. Let me see skills. That's actually kind of annoying. It doesn't list them. Okay, let me see. So Red Tide is strength and skill, which means White Tide magic and speed. Yeah, all you need is White Tide. That's what speedrunners would use. Everything else does not matter. Speed is what matters, because with the White Tide, you're giving 5 speed. That makes units easier to double the auras, which ends the end game faster.
Like, and if you pair that with something like Daunt, like, it just gets really quite insane. So I think
Daunt is really bad though, and it doesn't help with the end game. Like, what? It might help lower Ashera's accuracy by a smidge, but I'm pretty sure she still has like 100% chance to hit you, and it doesn't help with the AoEs. What is Daunt actually doing here? Daunt is only like 10 avoid, isn't it? Now I gotta check the skills again. Daunt is a really weird addition here. Daunt is a terrible skill, dude. Daunt is actual trash. Yeah, have their accuracy and crit rate reduced by 5. I even highballed it and it's bad. 5 accuracy? What makes that good? 5 accuracy is not going to do anything. If it was 20 or 30, I'd agree. Daunt would be really damn good. But 5 accuracy and crit avoid? Yeah, basically your crit avoid and avoidance, and the enemy avoidance? What? Okay, let me see. Yeah, so their crit rate and accuracy are reduced by 5. Woo. So Killing Edge Swordmaster will have 25 crit instead of 30. Woo, that's such a big difference. You're still gonna die. And 105 hit reduced by 5 is 100. That's gonna help save your life. No, you're gonna die. That's just, Daunt is the terrible, terrible skill. You know what it is? It's money.
I think that Kurthanaga, I actually like using Kurthanaga. Reason value. So Kurthanaga, Garrett, and Nasir are really good for deployment for those last chapters because they're really strong for speed runs, and they just make one character absolutely broken. Like, and if you pair that with something like Daunt, like, it just gets.
Yeah, Daunt is like the worst example here, dude. Daunt is literally a non-factor in any matchup. Again, show me an example of Daunt actually helping in any way, shape, or form.
Really quite insane. So I think that Kurthanaga, I actually like using Kurthanaga. Reason being is that none of the dragons will attack him on the stage. So I actually ended up getting him like quite high. Like, he was pretty strong by the end of the game. Even though you only have him for those 5 chapters, I think he's pretty good. He does get the royal form shift at the end of that, so pretty good.
Yeah.
Gifka is a god. Knigas is a god. Now, I didn't really like Enna, but she does have pretty good skills. Like, this Blood Tide increases the strength and skill of adjacent allied units by 5. That's pretty OD. Like, that makes her one of the best support units in the game. And then Renning, you literally get at the last second.
Quite literally, the white tide is better because it boosts speed. And again, speedrunners use a speed one because it ends the final chapter faster. Because doubling the auras is actually god tier.
He's not a bad character. He's kind of ready to go. But I think that he just has incredibly stiff competition. You know, even if you dump a bunch of bonus EXP into him, I don't think he's really good for endgame, honestly. And the only other 2 characters, like Peleus and Sephiroth, they're both mages. They're probably some of the better mages, but again, mages in Part 4 I don't think are too good. So, yeah. And that'll do it for...
Okay, Sephiroth can't do shit without a tome. So you bring Peleus, promote Peleus, get Peleus double S rank, bless the Dark Tome, or you could bless the Siege Tome. So you'll have an infinite use Siege Tome. That's a funny strat you could do too. I tend to bless Balbarith. Give it to Sephiroth, because Sephiroth cannot actually be damaged in the final chapter. Ashera will not target him. She will not counterattack him. The auras will not attack him. The spirits will not attack him. He's literally invincible in the last chapter. He's like... That'd be like saying, oh, I have like Pent, so I'm not going to use fucking Athos. Like, dude, Athos is a god. Sephiroth's a god. Why aren't you using gods? Like, yes, they're mages, but you need a literal unkillable mage. Sounds really fucking good. That could always double. Always deal a crap ton of damage. Especially with Balbarith. Like, why the hell would you not use that? That's what I want to know.
For what I consider to be the best units in Fire Emblem Radiant Dawn. Now, this is just a purely subjective list. Nothing definitive. This is kind of just a good jumping off point if you plan on playing the game and you're just picking it up. Of course, there's some really good guides, by a lot of Fire Emblem creators out there, Mecha, FED, that just go over in depth, why these characters are good. So if you want more in depth, feel free to check out those channels for sure. I just want to take a moment out to thank everybody for being part of this 4-part Fire Emblem series. This has been a lot of fun, you know what I mean? Like, creating these videos have been pretty fun, and going back and replaying these titles has been incredibly fun as well. I think the next titles that we're going to try to tackle are either going to be Fire Emblem Awakening or Final Fantasy Tactics. I just beat Final Fantasy Tactics last week again, and god damn, that game is still good. So let me know what you'd like to see next, Fire Emblem Awakening content, or if you want to see Final Fantasy Tactics. Until next time, LC signing out. Peace.
Okay, so final thoughts, I guess. This is a long video. I ranted there for a while. I'm sorry, guys. Yeah, this is a 2-hour video. Holy shit. Okay. Overall, I think he has some pretty solid takes. His takes in Path of Radiance are a lot better, because Path of Radiance is a lot more straightforward. Radiant Dawn has a huge roster, so that gives more air there, overall. I'm not saying you can't use these units. I'm saying in a kind of a video type guide of who are the best characters, including characters that have, like, the contradicting theories kind of bothers the heck out of me. With, like, why would you bring mages that are the only ones that excel in one magic type, but bring Elincia, who doubles down on staves, which you already have lots of, doubles down on swords, which you already have lots of, so why do you need that? Especially with a low speed cap. The statements of Har and Gatry doubling everything. Oh my god, please. They don't. They can't. They won't. Hands down. For Lance users, Nephany will double everything. Almost everything in the game. Nephany is a god. Lance. Sword. Edward. Wait, no, what's the sword? Who did he say? Har. Axe. Jill. That's just Jill. Just Jill. Dude, Jill is a god. She will double almost everything. Nephany will double almost everything. They won't even double everything. There are sword masters they can't double. But guess what? They'll double more than freaking Gatry and Har. Like, we're gonna get like, that bothers, that is my biggest gripe about this entire video. Is the statement that Har and Gatry can double everything. when in the video he's showing, they're not doubling a damn thing. Like, what do you mean? Please. They have some of the lowest speed stat caps in the game. Har has a speed stat cap of 32. Gotchers is 31. Elincia's is 28. And you're telling me they're all fantastic. No, they're not. I'm sorry. They are good when you have them. They're good when you need them. They're good for tanking. They're good for this and that. They're not really... They're good for everything but speed, and you're giving them credit for speed. They're not speedy. It's just not who they are. You can give Har a Brave Axe. You can give Jill a Brave Axe, and she can quad and not just double like Har. So, like, okay, let's take the math, for example, right? So, let's use the 15 damage doubled. So that's 30 against the 20. Well, now the 20 is being doubled to 40, but the 15 is being quadrupled to 60. And that's a guaranteed kill. So Jill's basically, with the Brave Axe, a guaranteed kill on pretty much every unit in the game. Har can't do that! Even with the Brave Axe! So, like, I'm sorry for, like, griping on that so damn much. That was just like I said, this guy's got a pretty good handle on it. He skipped Micaiah, which kind of annoyed me. He added, there's some units that should not be on here. Valug is not that good. He could do some meme stuff. There are some funny gimmicks you can do with him. There's, and like, same with Nolan, but Nolan is actually, like, kind of necessary in the Dawn Brigade, so do promote him to level. So, for tier 2, from the Dawn Brigade, like, who should you promote to tier 2? I would say at the very least, Ileana, Aran, Nolan, and Edward, and Jill. If you want to think of part 3, then definitely have Aran, Edward, and Nolan at tier 2. Because holy shit, will they make your tier 3 games for the Dawn Brigade a lot easier, dude. 110%. For part 2, I would say you already got Soth. He's already tier 2. You can get Micaiah. She's story promotion. Do train your Micaiah, by the way. Otherwise, she's just the worst unit in the game. But if you train her even to, like, if you train her at level 20 for each tier, she's phenomenal. She has a high speed stat cap of any usable Sage. So not counting frickin' Sephirin. But I think his speed is pretty solid too. But that he doesn't count. He's like Athos. He's supposed to be a god. That's really all there is to say. I tend to get part 1 Dawn Brigade up all of them to 2nd tier just to see if they could possibly be useful. So maybe they'll catch me by surprise. They really aren't. Nolan, Edward, Aran are all pretty good tanky / dodgy units. They do their jobs very damn well. Laura, I usually get to tier 2 as well, but I promote her at level 15 because it's really not that hard, and Laura has a really good speed growth, so she cannot get doubled, which means she can actually survive shit once she hits tier 2. But I can understand not getting her there. It's completely reasonable. Yeah, for part 2, Elincia is good when you have her in part 2, but even then she can't just like one-shot enemies. She can't even double enemies and kill them in part 2 finale. She can't even kill the boss without a stun proc in part 2, actually. So she's not that good. Her physic range is okay. She's the only healer in part 2, which is nice. But her part 2 usage... So she's useful in part 2 for healing because she's the only one you got. In part 4, when she comes back, you got a fuck ton of healers. Lots of mages can heal at this point. You don't need her for healing. You need her for damage output. That's where the Amity comes in. But later on, Amity doesn't matter either. You can't quad because of a low speed cap. Like, Elincia is kind of bad. She's good when you initially get her, and then she falls off hard in part 4, and then she's unusable for the tower. Joffrey's pretty solid, but he's gone for a majority of the game too. Kieran is a god. Kieran is really good. Kieran could be better than Titania. Nephany is an absolute monster. Train Nephany. She can basically solo maps later on. Those are the only worthwhile part 2 units. Har is good. Har is not supremely good, but he is pretty solid and a good unit for part 2. And part 4. But not for the tower. Don't bring him to the tower, please. Unless you love Har, and I can understand why. Har is kind of a badass. Don't bring him to the tower. bring Jill. Jill is better than her in almost every way, shape, or form except for strength and defense, but she has every other stat and HP. But she has better skill, so she can hit shit. She has better speed, so she can double shit. She has better res, so she can survive mages. She can dodge mages. She's everything Hark wishes he could be. Part 3. Yeah, Ike, God. Titania, pretty freaking good. Boyd, but let's just talk about the good ones. Rolf, if you train Rolf, he'll be better than Shinon. Otherwise, use Shinon. They're interchangeable. It's just Shinon's less investment, but he's less good with the same investment. So, like, Gatry is absolutely amazing. Not able to double everything, as shown in this video, but he can double. But then he can't. Randolph is pretty freaking good. Oki's preferred skill is God tier, makes him one of the most dodgiest units in the entire freaking game, including Laguz Royals. I think he at level 30, Oki has a higher avoid than Naysala, who has the highest speed in the game. That shit is bonkers, dude. Yeah, Raisin is God tier, best Heron, hands down. I don't think I'm glossing over anyone in part 3. Part 4, yeah, Lion King. The Laguz Royals as a whole, bring them. They're so good. Naysala is the worst, I agree, so he has a good take there. Naysala is the worst, hands down. The fact that Lucia is the worst Swordmaster, I agree with. Khalil's like the worst Sage is a fact that cannot be debated. She's not available. She's not good. She's okay, but she's not good. Without heavy favoritism. Yeah, Kurthnaga, solid. Give at least Kurthnaga Paragon. Watch him level up. It's funny as hell. He could actually start doubling shit. He won't double everything, but I think he has a higher speed cap than Gatry, so if Gatry doubles everything, Kurthnaga will quad everything. I'm memeing. The Tide skill mention is nice. The only one that's actually good for speedrunners is the White Tide, in my opinion. But I don't do speedrunning, but the extra speed makes doubling shit easier, and doubling shit is really good in Part 4 Tower, because you can't double those auras very easily, so being able to do it easily is very, very nice. And yeah, so Elsie, you're probably going to watch this. I hope I was nice, at least for the Path of Radiance one. It was just like some OCE shit in the Path of Radiance one, but like, I spent a lot of time talking about data transfers. Data transfers are important. If you're going to play Path of Radiance, play Radiantdawn, data transfers are a must. Data transfers on certain units are busted as hell. Nephany will barely be slowed down. Jill won't be slowed down. Frickin' Gatry gets higher speed, so he can double, but not everything. Har could possibly get transfers as well, though that's not great on Har. But honestly, yeah, I might make it like an outright tier. Oh wait, I already made a tier list. Check it out on my channel. I made a tier list for every part of Radiantdawn and how good they are. I might have to revise it later on, but I'm pretty sure my takes are still the same. I might change my mind a little bit for certain units, but for the most part, for normal and easy, which this is what his video is based on, it should be about the same as it was back then, and I made that video like a year and a half ago. So yeah. So if you enjoyed this video, like, comment, subscribe to LC as well. He's a pretty chill dude. Like I said, he let me do this. I do hope I wasn't too hard on him. I wasn't trying to be. It's just there were some really, really weird takes that I had to comment on that were screaming in my brain that is just wrong. But like overall, this is a solid video talking about best characters in Radiantdawn. He has a lot of really main picks in here, which is nice. He's got some hot takes, which is entertaining. Check out his Path of Radiance one as well. I'll link this one in my video here, and I'll link the other one in the Path of Radiance reaction one. But yeah, if you enjoyed this video, like, comment, subscribe, and until next time, this is Radiantdawn signing off. Bye, and remember, I'm not saying I'm like the best player in the world, but I do have over 80 playthroughs and at bare minimum 1,600 hours of Radiantdawn, so I'm pretty sure I know what I'm talking about. I'm just saying. But yeah, like I said, subscribe to him, subscribe to me. I'll see you all next time. Be Radiantdawn signing off. Bye.